the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church, and I would like to say good evening. Blessings to all my brothers and sisters, Israelites and Gentiles alike, throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom. Shalom. Yes? Oh, yeah. Boy, do we have a eye-opening broadcast for you this evening. Soon I'll be bringing in some special guests. It's been a long time since I've done a broadcast like this, so I hope you all are getting your popcorn ready, right? We're going into, I have a brother, a longtime friend who's in the filmmaking business, who's done a lot of great things. And I'll be bringing him in a moment. And we caught up, and there's a certain I would call cover up that's going on with the corporations, and that's four generals in specific. When it comes to the North American Indians, our people, something is going on against our people where they're dying through poisoning. And we're seeking to bring some exposure to the destruction of the tribe of Gad in New Jersey. So get ready. This is going to be a deep, insightful broadcast. So I'm waiting for him to text me. I'm going to bring him in. And we're going to have that discussion, okay? And at the end of this, we're going to speak to you all to give you some insight on how you can help us bring this before the world, okay? This is a special broadcast. I took out some time and I said, you know what, brother? We have over 100,000 subscribers, 120, even though this channel has been suppressed and shadow banned, and we need to bring this to the forefront of what's going on with God's people, the North American Indians, in the midst of, and I'm talking about our brothers and sisters who are suffering in New Jersey with no media coverage. Okay, so we're going to talk about that this evening. In a couple of moments, I'm going to bring them on. But in the meantime, before I bring them on, let me say shalom. And I would like to make some announcements, while waiting for him to come in. Okay? I would like to make some announcements. First and foremost, we're in week 5 of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. And if you don't know, ask somebody. Okay? Folks, we're going into details never revealed in the earth, breaking down the fact that extra biblical texts give us understanding of how to track Esau. And Janus, the god Janus, who's worshipped and revered within the Greek islands, he's Zepho, and our records expose that. It also exposed the original palace that was set up by Esau's grandson Zepho. That palace had gateways into the dark world where the spirit Satan, Yahweh was his name, would come into the palace to give Esau's grandson direction on how to consolidate power and to put the whole world under his eventual control. Well, that palace is the Vatican. The Vatican has never been attached to Christ or the church at all. It was the palace that was set up from Mount Seir into Kittim, into Italia, where Satan would deal directly with the Edomite power structure to guide them against the God of Israel and God's people. Folks, you need to see that lesson, okay? Of course, I'll be bringing some of that to the forefront because there's nothing that I teach in the academy that I don't eventually bring forth but, on the public stage. But all in all, that's school. So if this interests you, you want to get in and get that particular lesson with all the sources. I have the white papers. I have everything. The proof. That's right. Go to historytimes.org. Okay. historytimes.org. Okay. Now, before I bring in the guests, I would like to make an announcement that, yes, as you can see here, let me show you. Let me show you here. Join the next Academy Mastering the Wisdom of the Bible. This week, we'll have some extra, what you would call preparation tips. We'll have some preparation tips. And we'll also have clips, Elder Lawya and myself giving you private clips on how to actually do what? Master precepts. We're going to show you how to use the strong concordance to stay in line with doctrine. Okay, we're making these clips this week and we'll show them in the academy. How to navigate through a what? Center column Bible using concordances and Strong's concordance. Elder Lawya going to make a clip and I'm going to make a clip, and we're going to have those in between segments for you, okay? Mastering the Precepts, the Wisdom of the Bible. Go to historytimes.org. And I would be amiss if I didn't mention the fact that our Passover will be in North Carolina this year. And as you can see, the new year, according to the correct 364-day schedule, is right before you, right here. The new year, March 4th, sundown, right? That's the new year. Then you have to count what? 2 weeks, 2 Sabbaths. Well, of course, March 17th, Friday sundown, is the correct what? Passover communion. We're going to have Passover communion Friday night, March 17th in North Carolina, and we'll have the full service the next day. Okay, and then we'll be there until the Most High tell us to dismantle, and we'll break bread, congregate, conversate, and bring awareness to the most important Sabbath of the year, and that's Passover. It's so important that we have this particular communion, as the disciples did this from year to year. Okay? It's the most important Sabbath of a calendar year. There's 52 of them, but this particular Sabbath is above them all. And I hope to see you there. Okay? I'm speaking of those who are baptized in the church. Now, speaking of that, okay, it's important that brothers and sisters know that's in the church. I'm speaking to church members right now, that the church, including myself as an elder within the church, we do not make any money off of the Passover. Okay? We don't make any money. We divide it according to cost, and we break it down for those who's going to be there. Okay? And that's food, that's entertainment, that's the audio equipment, the food, the venue, which is very, very expensive, but we spare no expense to give our brothers and sisters the opportunity to understand what it means to stand together as God's people in what? In a high quality setting. And I wouldn't think of anything less for God's people. All right. So it's important that you know that it's grand. I mean, we're up with 3,600 people strictly for North Carolina. We're probably up with 1,000 or more, 2,000 for the West Coast. We have Canada. We have the UK. We have Africa. All praises be to the Most High. We have a small gathering that happens over in South America, Mexico, and whatever the case might be. So keep in mind, thousands upon thousands of people in this truth who are baptized is going to converge. We're going to converge together. I was waiting for you here. We're going to converge together on the Passover, and we will commune. Manigan, I'm going to call you back in a couple of seconds, all right?
Okay.
All right. He's ready. All right. So, it's important that you brothers and sisters know that since they opened things up, cost has skyrocketed. Some could blame Biden for this or whatever the case is, the price of groceries or whatever the case is, but still, folks, and I need our church members to understand. We do big venues, right? And I know you see all those numbers and think, oh my God, they're making money. No, if anything, every Passover, we had to take money out of the treasury to compensate. Okay, to compensate. To help you understand, we don't make any money on the Passover. All right. So you may see those numbers, even if we take up a collection, it'll only go towards costs because we're usually in the red. And I need brothers and sisters to understand that, because you can see the numbers and you may think, oh my God, all this money. And it's just what we've all come together for, including yourselves, to have that day. Venues are very, very expensive, but you know what? We will not compromise when it comes to quality and showing our brothers and sisters what it means to be kingdom ready. And that's why we put the expense together for that venue, that understanding, so our people can set their sights beyond the level they have actually have us become accustomed to. We need to step it up, okay, and understand the expectation is kingdom at all times. And even if we have to lose money to be there to commune for that day and to break bread with you, it's worth it. Okay. So I'm just letting everyone know. People see the numbers, and I'm going to tell you, even the venue, the people who own the venue, seeing the numbers we were bringing and thought that this was a money-making thing. We're like, no. It's according to cost. We divide the numbers according to cost. This is for the people, because they're so used to dealing with the Christian churches and others who come in to make all this money. So if you're spending tens and tens and tens of thousands, then of course the musicians make a lot of money. The pastor or the keynote speakers, they get money. We don't operate like that. Whatever we put out goes into that event for that day, and Christ is magnified. That's what it's about. And guess what? It costs a lot of money to bring 4,000 people in one area. Okay. Not including what we have to do for the West Coast, what we have to do for Canada, what has to, and we have it in Canada too, right? Toronto, what we have to do over there in the UK and different parts of Africa and things of that nature. So I thought brothers and sisters should understand, especially if you're fairly new coming into this. You may see the numbers, the swelling numbers, and say, oh my God. No, you don't know how much it costs to actually have one of those venues for 2 days. But it's okay. All right. It's okay. So I thought that transparency is key in all of this, so that no one can look at anything carnally, because we don't make no money off the Passover. Zero. We take a collection to try to compensate and put more in the treasury for more holy days and to actually distribute and help the churches in their locale. Okay. That's what if we take a collection, but it doesn't go to us. And it's important that you understand that. All right. 1 second here. I think my guest is ready. 1 second. 1 second, folks. I think my guest is ready. I is calling back Israel. And see, I know a lot of you are saying, Elder, you don't have to explain this. You don't have to say anything. We know, but it's best that we say this because there's a perception that's out there when it comes to gatherings and a negative connotation that's been put on churches based on what we see with the prosperity movement. And I know that perception exists. Okay. But you will never hear TD Jakes or anyone else get in front of you and say, well, listen, that money is not coming to us. Okay. So we thought strictly based on the negative connotation that's out there that come with the Christian church that we'll be transparent and let brothers and sisters know what you put in is the cost for the venue. Okay. All right. Let me get my brother on. We have a special guest this evening. One moment. Let me pull up Zoom. 1 second. Pull up Zoom. Yes. Boy, are we in for a deep broadcast. Very, very deep. Right? Let's see. Let's get the guests together. I'll put them through this one here. Yes. Okay, that's good. All right, let me get my brother in here. You gather us. Oh. Highest calling back Israel. Oh. Highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint to gather our wives and children, then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. Let's get ready, folks. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. You gather us. Oh. Yeah. Wait till y'all see the broadcast tonight. Highest gathering Israel. Whoa. Whoa. Let's do it. And again, for those who don't know, the Passover event, the most important Sabbath of the year. The most important Sabbath of the year is what? You got it. March 17th, sundown. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to talk about mass baptisms before that. But yes, we will converge on the Carolinas. Yes. Hold on. Let me bring in the guest. I didn't even try to rhyme. I know that was corny, but let's see here. Let me bring in my brother.
Hello?
Shalom. Do you have a video?
I'm getting it now. I'm trying to hook it up now.
Okay. Oh, you didn't expect me to click you right in, huh?
Hold on.
Is that boy looking just like you?
Yeah, man.
Lord
No,
have.
that's me.
That's you.
Yeah, that's me. Like 12 years old or something.
Oh, you was made for this. You was thinking about this years ago, huh? Oh, praises! Look at you, boy. Don't let.
All right. Can you hear me? You see me?
Oh yeah, I see you. Don't let me start pulling up my pictures up in here now. Huh?
I can't see you though. Where's your video?
I'll let you see me. Yeah, that's okay. You can see me. There I am. Boom. Here I am. Right. I have you live right now, and I guess you're live from. That's your studio.
Yeah.
Oh man, you are killing it, ain't you? Let me bring you up. Let me bring you up real quick. Let me bring you up. Lord have mercy. Let me bring you up, my brother. Let me bring you up. Let's see here. Let me grab you here. Zoom. There you go. And that's your wife with you. How are you?
Hello.
All right. Man, what a broadcast we're going to have this evening. I've already prepped everything, but before we go in, this is what brothers and sisters probably don't know, right? Mr. Lamont Fountain, a.k.a. Man-a-Gun, the Hebrew, have this man been busy? Let me tell y'all something, folks. This is what y'all probably didn't know before I jump into this. I mean, listen, don't start blushing now. I'm talking I'm talking about a modest man, but a man with many talents, right? And I'm talking about musician, guitar player, producer. Bring that picture back, man. What are you doing?
Hold on. There it is.
Right? Producer, engineer, right? Filmmaker, right? This is what people probably didn't know. Lamont or Man-a-Gun. Which one? Tonight is the professional scenario because you have production and people you're dealing with. So, Brother Lamont, okay, the brother knows what he knows, and yes, he knows the truth. And I know when we did this song, he probably had no idea that this song would become an international anthem. It was Man-a-Gun. It was Lamont Fountain who produced, even though I wrote the song in like a couple of minutes, but he produced and mixed this song.
What you about to play it?
Here you go.
I'm wondering what it is.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no man can dwell.
You know Barack
We went.
produced that.
Yeah, I know.
I recorded and mixed it.
You recorded.
Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Nepali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Cat, the North American Indians, Zambia, the Dominicans, our highest gathering is Israel.
The Arabs and Africans told us.
At gunpoint.
Together our wives and children and souls.
It was Rawchaa, the blessed hands, who actually produced the music, but you mixed it. I recorded it at your makeshift, what used to be what, I don't know how we were able to do what we did in that little place, but boy.
Yeah.
It was you. I recorded it on in your studio, and you did the mixing. My man. But since we're talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, you're on your way of blowing something wide open that has been concealed for many years. One thing that has been concealed is that there has been some corporate poisoning of the tribe of Gad, the Ramapo tribe in New Jersey, and you're here to bring light to it on a global scale. Ford Motor Company. Now, you have done a lot since I've traveled the world and come back around. And let me tell you, brother, I don't expect anything less from what your potential was, but I think brothers and sisters need to understand some of what you've done that's impressive. Some people out there, a lot of people don't know, Lamont, and we're going to talk about this, that you, let me write it down because I made sure we proofed everything here, that you had a major hand in a series on Paramount Plus, 72 Seconds in Rittenhouse, right? If you don't mind, let me play the trailer before you introduce yourself and what you're trying to do for our Gadite brothers and sisters over there in Jersey. Let's play the trailer. Paramount Plus, brothers and sisters, please go check this out. Okay? Totally impressed with this, right? You're not going to be able to hear it, man of gun, but I want them to be able to hear it, okay? Here's the, and what exactly did you do for the series 72 Seconds in Rittenhouse in particular? What did you do? What was your role?
When it was still an indie project, I produced it. I put up the money, I shot it, and I co-produced it. And I worked with the director, Ty Gray Hill. And we basically, we shot 95% of it, and then we shopped it. And long story short, Paramount Plus loved it. Susan Zirinsky, who used to be the president of CBS News, personally loved it, and she acquired it for Paramount.
Okay, well, it's only 2 minutes. Let's look at some of the work. And I'm sure you put together this trailer beforehand when it came to the promotion of the series, right?
Right.
52 seconds, 72 seconds in Rittenhouse. Let's see.
Philadelphia police.
We have an emergency. We have a stab victim. 17 cancer.
What happened?
A guy was stabbed in his back.
Where's the person that stabbed us?
He's running. He's gone. He's gone.
Last seen being westbound on Walnut, use caution, large knife.
You see some brutal things. That crime that night was brutal.
Sean was stabbed coming out of a restaurant in Rittenhouse Square.
Everyone's in a great mood. It's a beautiful night. Less than an hour later, he's been what?
Homicide called me and they said Michael White is going to surrender himself.
He started the altercation. Deliver your food and Sean's still alive.
How does it start with a traffic dispute and someone ends up getting stabbed? I remember watching the news, and all I remember seeing is the sadness in this boy's eyes. Sean was a good-hearted person. He was humble.
It's hard to imagine this earth without him walking on it.
People were speaking about Sean. He was a good entrepreneur. He was turning the city around, and that stuff is true. There's another side.
I'm like, Michael, I want you to tell me, did you stab him? He said, I don't remember stabbing him.
Someone who has no criminal record doesn't just start assaulting people on the street.
Something was off here.
Sean had coke in his system.
Witnesses said he had bloodlust in his eye.
Sean was arrested. He rushed him.
It was a situation that got way out of control.
It became a big story because you were dealing with someone who had money, privilege, connections, and you had a kid from North Philadelphia.
I just worried about when I was going to get the opportunity to tell the truth. If I don't make them feel where I'm coming from, it's over.
An emotionally charged trial is set to...
This is straight out classic self-defense.
Michael White was protecting himself. That's why he had the knife in the first place.
I don't know if he meant to kill him, but he meant to stab him damn hard.
There was more to this case than what the media was reporting.
This case is an absolute disgrace.
You just wonder how this is going to play out.
I scoured that neighborhood looking for cameras, looking for witnesses. We found the video.
Everything was happening so fast. Boom, like that.
They arrived at an intersection at the exact same moment. What happened next took seconds, and two people's lives are forever changed.
Man. So I take it, Lamont Fountain, everything that we've just seen is what you produced.
Yeah.
Man, you're talking about you're talking about something that's a rush. I'm surprised this thing didn't get serious acclaim, but I'm sure it's still moving to where if people wanted to see this, they can actually go see this. It was a brother who was charged against in Rittenhouse Square. People have to know, brothers and sisters, Rittenhouse Square is where the elite of our of people in the Philadelphia live. And you got a man that had all of this prestige and power who was in an altercation. He ended up dying. And then this young brother was charged. And you have to see it. But if you want to explain it real quick before we go to the next thing, what can they hope to see with this particular production, 72 hours in Rittenhouse?
72 seconds in Rittenhouse.
72 seconds.
So,
I'm sorry.
No, it's basically this incident happened, and as you can imagine, this happened. We're 2 years into the Trump presidency, so we all remember the climate, the political climate, and the racial climate. So for something like this to happen, of course, it would get politicized, and it just the left took it and ran, the right took it and ran with it. So it was a lot of rhetoric, and it was just a lot of politicizing of the circumstances on both sides. So there was a lot of things, a lot of facts that were overlooked, and the director, Tigray Hill, he came to me and he said, "You want to?" Because we were working on another project. He was like, "You want to work on this project with me?" And I looked at all the info he had, and I said, "Sure." The thing that was amazing was that we were able to get in-depth interviews from both sides. So from the parents of the deceased and Michael White himself, which is the young brother, and his mother and his lawyer, and that's what we got. So, and the video of the incident when it happened, which wasn't released to the public. So it was one of those things, and it was crazy because it actually it was trending on Paramount at number 4. So, and this is for all of Paramount shows. So this was like, the Yellowstone series and the series with Sylvester Stallone. It was trending up there with those shows for a couple weeks. And it was the only documentary series that was trending in the top 10 spot, on Paramount Plus. So it was only like their syndicated shows, their main heavy hitters, tentpole shows that was trending in that time, and it was trending number 4 with those.
North Philadelphia, to the brothers from North Philadelphia, so that hits home for me. You know, I was raised there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And brothers and sisters, if you don't know about this and haven't heard about this, and have a subscription with Paramount Plus, go check that out. 72 Seconds at Rittenhouse, correct? That's what it's called?
72 Seconds at Rittenhouse Square.
At Rittenhouse
and they have a 7, if you don't have Paramount, they have a free 7-day trial if you want to just get it and check it out. It's a 3-part series. Each episode is roughly 45 minutes.
Great. I mean, I'm impressed because that thing it jumped off the screen. And I'm talking about the cinematography. You were behind the cinematography and all of that.
Yes.
All praises. Man, what gifts. And I believe the Most High is giving you these gifts to bring light to something even greater, which I'm about to segue into. You knew for a long time that the North American Indians are from the lost tribes of Israel, right? I mean, I think even yourself, are you Gadite, Judite?
I am. It's funny because my father's father is Judite, but my father's mother, my mother's father is Black Seminole. My father's mother is, I forget the name of it. I gotta look it up, but it's like Gad.
Yeah.
So I'm Gad on both sides, but my father's father is Judite.
Thank you, Felicia. Felicia says she's on it. She's subscribing now. And that's the support. That's the support we're talking about. Oh, Felicia, give a round of applause for that. But anyway, for those who are fairly new and don't understand this, right? For quite some time, the world has been hiding the fact that we're from the lost tribes of Israel. It's not boasting that's who we are. But because our people have been, let me tell you, there's no other way to explain why we're systematically oppressed or harmed and while there's no help for us. Why? Because all the nations have come together to actually conspire to keep us on the bottom. And when our people are suffering, you very rarely hear the media cast a light on it or make it an important talking point or story that the world should do what? That the world should take notice of. And I need y'all to think about this. When there's a war in Palestine, CNN, breaking news all over the place. It be Palestinians, they're talking about that. If something happened with Jewish people, they're talking about that. But why no one is speaking of the systematic suffering of the children of God? And for those who are fairly new and don't understand this, this is deeper than something religious. This is real. If only you can open up your mind to understand that the children of Israel is under oppression and desolation, and it's systematic. And for those who don't know, I'm going to show you how we pull this together, because right now, Lamont has a serious project to bring to light the destruction of our people happening in real time, yet it's getting ignored. Now, these North American Indians we're talking about aren't just some regular old indigenous people. These are God's people, but yet the media isn't talking about this. Your religious institutions aren't talking about this. So we said, you know what? We're going to talk about it. We're going, just like he brought that to the big screen. He brought that to TV so that others can understand what was going on, where a young man was about to lose his life in self-defense. We need to have more filmmakers like this, that we can bring light to the suffering of our people. And guess what? It's so many things they're covering up. But guess what? What we're about to bring forth, folks, they will not be able to cover up any longer. For those who are fairly new in this and don't understand what we're talking about, the North American Indians in particular, the indigenous people who were conquered by the Romans, okay, folks, they're from the lost tribes of Israel, right? Let me show you something. Let me show you something on your screen right here. Right here is an actual picture. It's an actual picture that a brother who went on a field trip or a trip into the capital in Puerto Rico, the Bishop of Puerto Rico. He went there and they noticed that there were paintings on the walls of Puerto Rico. And what were the paintings? Christopher Columbus standing with the North American Indians who were from the tribe of Gad, right? And some of the Balikwa Taino Puerto Ricans, the indigenous people who were from the tribe of Ephraim. And then in the midst of this painting, there's a salesman who came off the shores with Christopher Columbus, who pointed to the book that was in the middle. But it wasn't just any book. He was saying, we found the people. What book? The Bible. So they knew in conquering the North American Indians and the Balikwa Taino Indians that it was prophesied that the Edomites would find the children of Israel in the New World. And how have they been treated since America have been what you would call discovered? Huh? So I need y'all to check this. So this is no conspiracy theory here, right? This isn't a conspiracy theory. I mean, even in your King James Version Bible, for you Christians or you so-called believers, even you Jewish people, if you believe in Judaism and follow Old Testament, well, you know the Apocrypha was a part of the Old Testament, right? So this is nothing personal. This is history here, right? Even if you go that route and say, listen, let me deal with this from a theological standpoint. When you go into 2nd Esdras 13 and 39, it reads in your Apocrypha, in your Bible, King James Version. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters. So they came into another land. This happened in 721 BC. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. America. The land that they renamed America was in prophecy, that they might keep their statutes which they've never kept in their own land, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood, that means calm the waters, until they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely 1.5 years, and that same region is called Arsarith, which means hidden land. This is what, in particular, Christopher Columbus found when he found the children of God here in the Americas. And eventually, when our people came over in cargo slave ships, Deuteronomy 28, the southern kingdom prophesied through Christ's prophecy that we would do what? Fall by the edge of the sword and be led away captive into all nations. Eventually, we found our brothers here. See? Now, why are we going here? Why are we going here? Well, the indigenous people who were here first are suffering. And I need you to bring something to light, man of gun. You want to work on a project. And I need you to tell brothers and sisters what this project is all about. Speaking of the North American Indians, The people is listening.
Okay.
Tell people what this project that you want to bring to the light is all about.
So this project is it's about the Ramapo Lenape Indians. So the Lenape Indians they were originally over the entire Northeast United States before it was the United States. So from Canada down to Delaware, it was the Lenape Nation, and then you had different tribes in that nation, and then you had different clans amongst those tribes. The Ramapo was in the region of North Jersey, the mountains. They were named the Ramapo, by other people, but they were originally, the Lenape. So they were called Ramapo after the mountains. So basically they were there, for centuries, and around the time of
excuse me, let me ask you a question. What is the Ramapo chief name again?
The chief of the Ramapo, his name is Wayne Perry, but the chief of the Turtle Clan, which this story affects, is named Vincent Mann.
Vincent Mann. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So around the time in the 1700s, the white man came. I forget the particular names, but they saw that these mountains were full of iron. It was like iron shards sticking out of the mountains, like 100 feet out of the mountains. And what they did was, and this was a spiritual thing to the Ramapo. They was like, they were like lightning rods. So they have they have a belief in the thunder beings, which is spirits that deal with lightning and thunder and all that. So that was a spiritual thing for them.
So this was more so what you would call it wasn't just a regular mountain. It had spiritual significance to them, is what you're saying. But go on. All right.
So eventually, in the time of the 1700s, they basically came and used those mountains for mines to mine iron, and they built several mines all throughout the mountains, and they established a town for the miners. It basically became a mining town.
Okay. And
that town was called Ringwood. It's basically a corporate town. It wasn't even incorporated. It was just a corporate town. So they got along with the Ramapo, and the Ramapo was still living in their wigwams at the time, and they were living peacefully. Some of them worked the mines. And it's a lot of history with those mines, because the iron that was mined from those mines was used in all of the wars since the War of 1812, the Civil War, World War I, all the way up until World War II. Okay. So the cannonballs, the chain that they built, the stretch across the Hudson to stop the British, all of that iron came from these mines, from these mountains. So when basically they were finished mining the iron, they abandoned the mines, and at that time they leased the houses, because the town was full of houses for the miners.
Okay.
And the Ramapo was still living in wigwams, and they started to move into those houses when the whole mining industry moved out of that area. So the mines shut down, and the Ramapo were leasing those houses and that land from the state.
Okay.
And it was another mining company that came and bought it, but eventually Ford came, and I believe it was the 30s, and purchased that entire land.
Ford Motors.
Now there was
Ford Motors.
Ford Motor Company.
Okay.
So Ford built the biggest auto plant in the world 5 minutes away. And so they wanted that land. They were going to spend $50 million to make that executive housing for their executives for the plant. And the Ramapo was like, no, we've been here for centuries. We're not leaving. You're not going to just push us out. It was 1,100 people. And they tried, even though they bought the land and they actually Ford owned those houses, they couldn't push them out. And eventually, once they realized they couldn't push them out, that's when they started dumping harsh paint sludge and chemicals, which they knew were very harmful and carcinogenic and caused all kind of problems. They started dumping paint sludge into the mines. Now, they did the numbers because this was the biggest auto plant in the country from, I think it was 67 to around 70, mid 70s. They were dumping 6 million tons per quarter for that time. 6 million tons of paint sludge and chemicals. They were dumping it into the mine shafts, onto the land, everywhere. It wasn't just into the mine where they can contain it. They were dumping it in the woods.
So I take it the people started getting sick, birth defects, all types of things going on with them now, health issues.
All of it. So there's a documentary on HBO called Man versus Ford.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
This was the lawsuit. It was the Johnny Cochran's firm represented the Ramapo against the state of New Jersey and against Ford. And it was a big deal. And they had, all these famous actors, Robert Redford and Patrick Swayze, I think, Richard Gere, all of them were going to come. Yeah, we're going to tell this story, but nobody ever did anything about it. So nothing really happened. They, at the time where they were going to reach settlement was around 2008 when the whole economic thing crashed. And so they were worried, they were scared they weren't going to get anything. Ford looked like they were going to go under.
Okay.
So they wound up settling for just a couple $1 million. And the people that were living there, they got like maybe $3,000 to $10,000 a piece for all of these deaths. Now, in 20 years prior to that, they had 400 deaths in this little small area. And that's like the size of a big town for that time to have 400 deaths. It's only like 1,100 people there. So they were dying off. The chief said they were going to a funeral every day for a month. And that was just one of the clumps of time where they were going through a lot of funerals. So, but all kind of weird skin irritation, skin rashes, asthma, different kind of cancers. People were, and to this day, are still getting sick and dying. So,
here's a picture of Chief Vincent Mann. Let me pull him up real quick. Here's a picture of Chief Vincent Mann. Now, eventually, they reached out to you and said that, of course, with your cinematography and video work, and many people have reached out to you and said that, okay, it's time to bring attention to this. But, of course, the corporate sponsorship that you're used to doing business with probably wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Probably not.
Especially in an election year, right?
Right.
So here he is right here, Chief Vincent Mann, right? He's one of the people, Ramapo, who's fighting to save his people, Gadite. Now look at this guy. No, listen. Tell me this ain't the children of Israel. Look at that nose, huh? All right. So, our people have survived so much, but now we're up against a level of corporate poisoning that this outweighs the smallpox and the blankets, exponentially, right? We've been poisoned since they hit shore, and they're still poisoning us, and the media isn't covering anything. So, would you like to bring him on? Because before we bring him on, it's up to you. But what I want to ask you, what is it you want to do? Because obviously corporate media isn't going to touch this. How do we bring this to the world and have them see that our people are suffering by the hands of corporate greed, poisoning? And I believe Ford is doing this because you said at one point they wanted to buy this land from the Ramapo, and the North American Indians, GAD, refused.
So here's the thing: this is the tricky part. They bought the land from the mining company, so they actually purchased the land, but they couldn't push the people off of it.
Oh, so that's right. It.
So, and there was a treaty. It's called the Treaty of Easton, that took place in 1758, where they, with the language barrier and they misconstrued things, and they took the treaty as to mean that was a removal document. But in the treaty, and I'll let the chief can explain all this way better than I can, but in the treaty, it was understood by the Ramapo that they would always be on that land and that they can hunt and fish and strip bark from trees, which is how they build their houses.
Yeah.
So that was always the understanding, which, but, the other side took that document as a removal document, and that's how they were able to sell to the mining companies, and were able to, the land was able to change hands several times throughout the years because of that. And that's how Ford was able to buy it.
Okay, but obviously out of nowhere, and I'm going to say this, the Most High have you right now with the talents you've acquired up until this point, and I believe those talents were for this moment, right? How many people would have the in-depth understanding spiritually to know who these people are, and would have the expertise to be able to do something about it? So what I'm going to ask you to do is, because you have a vision, you have to be a visionary and have a vision when dealing with cinematography and all that, like you did with 72 seconds in Rittenhouse Square. So in your mind, how can you blow this out of the water based on all the information? And I put that trail up to show people the dynamics and the complexity of how you show both sides, so that it can have believe it or not, an unbiased judgment on the other end from both perspectives. But it only leads to one conclusion. Brother, that's a talent in of itself. So what I'm saying, what will you do with this?
So I asked the chief that same question. The way I got connected with the chief was through his cousin, which put me in touch with a good friend of his named Al Hendricks that was helping him trying to get the word out. And they wanted me to do a documentary. And I looked at all the information, and I was just thinking, and there's a documentary out called Man vs. Ford, and everybody can check that out because it gives the info, but it really doesn't, the people will tell you that documentary didn't do nothing but focus on the lawyers and the legal thing, the legal case. It really didn't focus on the people. And there was another documentary that was done that focused on the Ramapo as a whole, not necessarily this particular story, the Turtle Clan and the problem with Ford, and that was good, and they was cool with that. But then there's a show with what's his name, Aquaman, the guy that played Aquaman.
Yeah,
it's called The Red Road, where they basically took elements of this story and just turned it into some kind of crime drama, and it's bad representation of the people and all that. So I asked the chief, I said, do you want to just inform people about what's going on? You just want to inform people, or do you want to inspire people to make a change and to, he said, I want to inspire people to make a change. I told him, I think this would be better as a dramatic series. Something with actors, something you could see what the people go through on a daily basis, and you can get into the story more so than just getting information, because the information is out there.
Okay, so there's a human element that's missing.
Right.
So why there's
because
no people you can't get no justice because people can't feel the pain.
Absolutely.
And the suffering of the people, and you feel that if you put this in a mini-series type of clipping, it will draw the people in and and have a personal understanding of what's happening there. Fantastic.
Right, and you can use the magic and the spirit of filmmaking to show the everyday people losing their loved ones every day. Children, 5 years old, 6 years old, dying of cancer and asthma. All of these things, you can show that and, show the human side. And these people, with all of this, are some of the kindest people you will ever meet. They have and you can tell they're not weak. They're not cowardly people. They're strong. You saw the chief. You can see from the picture. But they are kind, and they have a resilience and a spirit that is like, the world got to see that.
They have to see that. They have to see the spirit and the perseverance of these people, and you can bring that to life.
That's the plan.
All right. Well, we're gonna bring the chief in 1 second, but before I do that, for those who missed it, I want to show brothers and sisters the trailer, so that brothers and sisters can actually get an insight to your, I would say, your credentials. Someone who can deliver you can grab the hearts of people and have them understand a political situation, right? And it takes a certain level of talent to do that. And in the example we can do, I'm going to play the trailer again, 72 seconds in Rittenhouse Square. And this was all Brother Manigun or Lamont Fountain. Let's show that once more, if I can. Let's show that one more again. I need y'all to check this out, folks. And when you get an opportunity, go to Paramount Plus, and type in 52 seconds in Rittenhouse Square, okay? Fair use for educational purposes only. I'm not making no money on this, okay? Let's go.
Philadelphia police.
We have an emergency. We have a stab victim. 17 cancer.
What happened?
A guy was stabbed in his back.
Where's the person that stabbed him?
He's running. He's gone. He's gone.
Last seen being westbound on Walnut, East Washington. Large knife.
You see some brutal things. That crime that night was brutal.
Sean was stabbed coming out of a restaurant in Rittenhouse Square.
Everyone's in a great mood. It's a beautiful night. Less than an hour later, he's been what?
Homicide called me, and they said Michael White is going to surrender himself.
He started the altercation. Deliver your food, and Sean's still alive.
How does it start with a traffic dispute and someone ends up getting stabbed? I remember watching the news, and all I remember seeing is the sadness in this boy's eyes.
Sean was a good-hearted person. He was humble.
It's hard to imagine this earth without him walking on it.
People were speaking about Sean. He was a good entrepreneur. He was turning the city around, and that stuff is true. There's another side.
I'm like, Michael, I want you to tell me, did you stab him? He said, I don't remember stabbing him.
Someone who has no criminal record doesn't just start assaulting people on the street.
Something was off here. Sean had coke in his system.
Witnesses said he had bloodlust in his eye.
Sean was arrested. He rushed him.
It was a situation that got way out of control.
It became a big story because you were dealing with someone who had money, privilege, connections, and you had a kid from North Philadelphia.
I just worried about when I was going to get the opportunity to tell the truth. If I don't make them feel where I'm coming from, it's over.
An emotionally charged trial is set to...
This is straight out classic self-defense.
Michael White was protecting himself. That's why he had the knife in the first place.
I don't know if he meant to kill him, but he meant to stab him damn hard.
There was more to this case than what the media was reporting.
This case is an absolute disgrace.
You just wonder how this is going to play out.
I scoured that neighborhood looking for cameras, looking for witnesses. We found the video.
Everything was happening so fast. Boom, like that.
They arrived at an intersection at the exact same moment. What happened next took seconds, and 2 people's lives are forever changed.
Man, incredible. You there? You there, Lamont?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
yeah, I'm sending the chief the Zoom link now. Okay.
Oh, okay. You're gonna send him the Zoom link now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't see your video. Are you off the video now?
Oh, yeah. I'm using my phone.
Okay. Take your time and let me know when you're back. We're gonna bring the chief in, and then we're gonna talk about how we're going to bring awareness with a mini series concerning this particular Ford Ramapo scenario, right? Because the corporate media isn't going to support this. They're not going to get behind this. So we have to talk to our people on how we can bring it to the forefront, how we can do it, right? Because I'm sure, Manigan, I'm sure, Lamont, that this particular documentary you have here on Paramount, of course, I believe it weighed in to help a brother not live the rest of his life in jail, possibly. Was this before or after the verdict?
So this was after the verdict, but I'm gonna tell you the brother he's had a hard life since. Even though he's free, there's still this stigma of what happened, and now people can see the truth. And I'm gonna tell you, even with this, a lot of people still don't want to see it, and they want to see him in a certain light. But the truth is out there for the people that want to see it.
Okay, all right, that's good. So I was speaking to you earlier, and I'm still waiting for the chief to come on, right? Because I'm going to.
I just sent them the link.
Okay, great, because I want to hear what he have to say. But what we were talking about before this is what you're looking to do is to, I wrote it down here so that I make sure things are right. That to bring light to this poisoning of the Ramapo in New Jersey, you want to be in pre-production by this coming spring, and to bring awareness to the corporate abuse and poisoning of our people, right, over there in New Jersey, right?
Right.
And brothers and sisters, after after the chief and others come in, if y'all have any questions, I'm going to open up the line so that you can ask any questions you would like. But because there's no corporation who would actually get behind exposing this, he's looking to do this predominantly with a timeline to it through a crowdfunding type of scenario where those who would like to support, and I'm going to support, to make sure he get to a number to go into production to bring this to light against the corporate structure. So it's like David and Goliath, but with our help, believe it or not, we can bring this to the big screen. And keep in mind, this is his production company. This is what he does. It's his expertise, and you see, he can deliver. So when he talked about it with me one-on-one, I said, well, listen, you're talking to the right person, because we're here to help God's people. And if we don't help, then there is no help. The corporate media will sweep this under the rug, and our children will continue to suffer. Right? So, and one thing about this man I can say, if he say he's going to do it, he's going to do it. This is not Umar shake you by your ankles Johnson. Promising the school since 1823. Okay. That boy been, if there was any such thing as reincarnation, he started crowdfunding 2 lives ago. Talking about a school. He got a bunch of bandos and still hustling off of it. One thing about my brethren is that when they say they're going to deliver something, it's delivered. And what y'all didn't know, brothers and sisters, that I told him. Okay, that's him too. That's him there. I told him. Yeah, I'm gonna bring him in now. I see him.
And Al Hendricks needs a dial-up number.
The dial-in number is 515-605-9327.
Wait a minute. Say it again. I'm sorry.
515-605.
605?
Yep. 9327.
Okay.
All right. So I'm a matter of fact, let me dial that up now. One moment. So here it is.
Did you get the chief in?
I'm gonna bring the chief in now. All right. I'll bring the chief in now. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, I hit admit. Is he there?
Yeah. You there, Chief?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. How you doing, Chief?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Do you have a video or no?
I do. I just trying to finish my smoke.
Okay, well, finish doing what you're doing and let me know when you're ready. We can just put you on hold for a second so we can explain what's going on. And I'd like to thank you for taking some time to come out. And we're doing what we can to bring light to our people suffering over there, my brother. Have you know that?
I cannot appreciate you any more than that.
All right. So when you're ready, you can put away the stogie. And let's take care of what we need to take care of here. Okay, we have Al Hendricks who's coming in. Yeah, I'd rather him come in this way, a matter of fact. Okay, Mr. Al Hendricks. All right. All right.
Oh, that's a nice studio. I ain't never been in.
Oh yeah, that's where he make it happen. How you doing, Mr. Hendricks? Mr. Hendricks, how are you?
Might be on mute.
Yeah, I just need him to unmute. If you can, Mr. Hendricks, unmute your microphone. Usually you come in and, when you come in, you must choose to allow your device. You must choose the audio on your device as you're entering. Please unmute Mr. Hendricks. Right?
Let me see. I'll send him a text.
All right. And while we're getting ready for that, let me get the phone calls in case people have some questions. Right? 1 second. It's time to bring some light to this, and I'm gonna tell you, Chief. It's incinerary. I feel for the loss that have happened over there with our children, with our people, and I mean the Ramapo, the North American Indians. I mean, you've been here before the Mayflower, I take it.
That's correct.
There you go. So I'm gonna bring you in 1 second. Let me call the line in.
Blog Talk Radio.
Okay.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Oh no, we're not gonna have that. Hold on. We will not have that. 1 second. I'm gonna bring you in, Chief, and let me know when you're done so I can so we can bring you in, okay?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, you run. Okay.
He's in there. I can see him.
He's good now? Okay. Hold on.
He's in. I just can't. Al is in, but I think he's still muted.
Calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Okay, Chief, how are you?
I'm doing very well, sir. Yourself?
I'm blessed by the Almighty. Good to see you. Hold on, let me put you in the frame so that everyone can see you there. 1 second.
Were you able to text Al, Chief?
Yeah,
I did, but no.
Let him know to unmute. I'm going to take him out for a second and let him know he can call back. And when he he must enter in with the audio. All right. I'm going to remove him just for a moment.
Yeah, it's going to, okay.
I removed him just now, but he can always come back and make sure he hit the audio on the way in. Okay. All right. Let's go directly to the chief here. Hold on. Let's go directly to the chief here. Let's see. How you doing, Chief?
I'm doing very well, sir. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Another recall show of the Gathering of Christ Church. Of course, Lamont have given me some insight to why we're here, right? It seems as if the corporate media and others have been covering up, a travesty, really tantamount to murder, and that we eventually have to bring some light to this. But if you can tell brothers and sisters about your tribe, yourself, and what's been going on with your people concerning Ford, if you will.
Sure, and thank you. Kiha Kolomosi, Ninja Sinzi, Kikai Man, Nunjiai Lamawo, Wanjikil Wak, Lamawo, Tikwa. Hello, everyone. My name is Chief Mann. I'm the Turtle Clan Chief of the Ramapo Lenape Nation. I've been the Turtle Clan Chief for probably around 14 years now. And when I became the Turtle Clan Chief, the Turtle Clan, its core area, had been and still does living and fighting and residing, being born into a federal Superfund site. This Superfund site began in about 1964 when Ford Motor Corporation began to dump its toxic waste from the Ford plant in Mahwah, New Jersey. That paint sludge consisted of electroplated material, which was actually illegal to dump all the way back then, where they added metals and other things to the paint that they were using, and even the colors of the paint, like blue, cobalt blue, or different things like that. And so what actually happened was that Ford Motor Corporation had bought the area of the mines in 1964, and they tried to remove 1,100 of our people from there that were living in the old miners' houses. They wanted to build a $50 million self-contained community there, one that the town of Ringwood, New Jersey would have realized upwards of $1 million in taxes a year, beginning all the way back in 1960s. Public outcry, our outcry prevented that from happening, and when Ford lost their bid to do that, they almost immediately, within months, began to dump their toxic waste on the land, in the brooks, in the mines. And one of the things that they would also do is that they would bring and dump parts that were that had value, that our people understood had value, like alternators and starters and things like that, that they could get metal from. And they would dump that directly in the middle of the paint sludge, knowing that our people, would go into it, to gather it. And so coming into the 1970s, things started to get a little bit precarious. Our people started getting ill, started dying of cancers, being born with health ailments. And then in 1974, they stopped. Actually, the state of New Jersey in 1970 for a year actually gave Ford a permit to do the dumping. And we've actually uncovered records that show that Ford was disposing of 16 million pounds of paint sludge alone every quarter. So if you can imagine, if that is what was taking place every year, 4 times 16 million times 10 would tell you the volume of paint sludge that had been disposed in and out around our community, not just the Turtle Clan, but also the Wolf Clan in Mahwah, New Jersey, and the Deer Clan in Hillburn, New York. In 1983, the Ringwood Mines Superfund site became listed. The first time around, there was some remediation. It basically was hand-picking, stuff they could see on the surface. And in 1994, Walter Mugden, who is now retired from Region 2 US EPA, declared the site safe. I happened to be doing a class project for Ramapo College, and he was invited in. And one of the students had actually asked him, Mr. Mugden, do you personally believe that all of the health ailments and cancers and deaths and sicknesses is directly related to the dumping that has occurred? And his answer, after he looked at me, was, this is off the record, but yes, I do. That was a federal official, very high up in the EPA. So in 1994, he delisted it. He along with Ford, along with Arcadis, who was the Dutch-owned company that did the remediation for Ford, as well as the town and the state, all signed off on the fact that it was fully remediated. And when I had the opportunity, I told Walter Mugden directly to his face that he gave our people a death sentence, right? Because he said it was okay for us, federal government, the state of New Jersey, the town of Ringwood, Ford Motor Corporation, all said that it was okay for us to go back and live our lives as we had been. And as indigenous people, native to this land where the creator, Tishala Moquane, has placed us, living off the land and, garnering, wild edibles and wild medicinals and the animals, the birds that used to be there that are no longer there, the rabbits, the fish that was once, native to that place, the trout, the deer, the raccoons, the squirrels, all of those things became vessels of toxic material that our people had ingested. So in 2006, I think it was, 2006, 12 years later, it took all that time for ourselves, Edison Wetlands, and Jan Barry Crum from the Record newspaper doing an investigative report, was able to force the EPA to relist it. There was a lawsuit that amounted into a settlement. The lawyers who were involved, they had mistakenly sent some documents to one of my aunties who's now passed, died of cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear your loss. Sorry to hear that.
She sent those documents to my other aunt, who also passed afterwards. But those documents actually showed was that the lawyers had asked the judge to they wanted to have 2/3 of the money from this puny little $11 million settlement that had 700 people on it. I mean, the amounts of money that these Native American Turtle Clan members received was just absolutely ridiculous. You know, $3,000, $8,000 for an elder, you know, who was living at that time, got $8,000, and he was literally born in the house in which he died in. There was fires that raged on for weeks on end, creating dioxin. And for those of you who don't know what dioxin is, one of the things that you can look at is the documentary on Time Beach. Time Beach is one of those. So you could, you know, just look at the Vietnam War and the use of Agent Orange when that was being manufactured here in the state of New Jersey. There was a problem with the manufacturing that went wrong, and when that went wrong, that is what caused Agent Orange, or as we know it today as dioxin. That same dioxin was created when the paint sludge was, you know, made to burn. Our people didn't leave, you know, they were there. They lived through those experiences. And so, you know, after the lawsuit and after the relisting of the Superfund site, the EPA and the state of New Jersey, none of them came back to help us address any of our health ailments, none of that. And, you know, I literally got into it with the manager of the site, Joe Gowers, for the EPA Region 2, and he going to these citizens advisory group meetings, and he would be sitting there telling me, well, Chief Man, this isn't about health. You know, it's not about that. This is just about remediation. And I had to explain to him in my uneducated way that how could you possibly even be talking about remediation when you haven't even addressed the human life that has been viciously attacked, and the deaths. I mean, at one point, we actually had a funeral every single day of the week without a break. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've had, you know, young children, 10-year-olds, dying of two rare cancers, blind in his uncle's arms. We've had, you know, a mother, 30 years old, who lived across the street from her cousin, who was 30 years old, and he died of heart ailments that his doctor, after having 6 operations through his life, told him that he probably wouldn't make it past 30, and he did not. And his cousin who lived across the street, she died of ovarian cancer at 30 years old with 3 children, one being less than a year old. And then a year later, her mother died of a brain tumor. This has just been an unbelievable tragedy, not even just because we're indigenous people who live in the footprint of our ancestors, but because of the human tragedy, right? You know, the violations of human rights. You said earlier, you know, that what this amounts to is murder, and it does, because, you know, those people who were doing the dumping knew, right? They knew that these chemicals were toxic. DuPont listed that in their book of all their chemicals in paint, in 1956, so they already knew, 8 years earlier, that this was going to kill people. Ford refuses to release over the years, even to the state of New York, their employees' health records. And the reason why they did that is because all of those people who worked in the paint booths and all of those people who worked cleaning up the paint sludge are all dead, right? Even people who are not us. I mean, the human toll, you cannot say that if you put this on the scales of justice, right, that the human toll and the loss of life, the loss of a quality of life, not just once, but for generations upon generations, once your DNA has been changed, you can't tell me that those two things that are sitting there, are equal. You can't say, that we're what do you call, what's the word for that? In war, we're not that we're casualties of war. We are
collateral damage.
Collateral damage, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. We can prove that, Henry Ford, back in 1923, belonged to a consortium of people. This consortium of very, very wealthy people, the Rockefellers, Bushes, Ford, Harrimans, you name it. These people, along with Margaret Sanger, who created Planned Parenthood in 1923, came out with 18 different ways to deal with the unwanted people of the Ramapo Mountains. This was in a newspaper article. I didn't write it. It is in black and white. And the number one way to get rid of our people was by a public lethal gas chamber. This did not come to fruition because of public outcry, but it did some years later, and we all know what that is today as the Holocaust. That is the exact same thing that they created here on this soil and were going to do to us. Which is what happened to the other tribe across the ocean by Adolf Hitler, who was best friends with none other than Henry Ford.
Let me ask you this question, if you will. I mean, if I can. What Lamont is trying to do, knowing that the corporations aren't going to, touch this with a 10-foot pole on the level it should be expounded upon, right? When this gets out, where the world is seeing exactly the suffering and the destruction that's going on with your people, our people, right? It won't be too long before corporations knock on your door and say, well, listen, this is what we're willing to do to not allow this exposure. Have they ever come to you and said, well, and what would your answer be if now this thing goes into full-blown production, ready to go, and they realize the political blowback when it comes to their stockholders and others and what the ramifications politically can have negatively against them? They would probably want to offer you something not to do this.
So, corporations nowadays actually are considered human, right? They're considered people, even though it doesn't play out that way in a court where they actually go to jail. But over the years, when our people were speaking out about the death and the dumping and all of this, they literally were taking toxic water that filled up the open air cisterns and piping it back, sending it back to our people to drink out of their faucet, to take a shower, to take a bath, to wash their babies, is just genocide, right? And so, but during that time, our people were threatened. Their houses were firebombed, they got threatening phone calls. When I was at the CAG, you know, when we were having them, I came right out and told the EPA in front of Ford, lawyers, the state of New Jersey, the federal government, town of Ringwood, our people. I told them all. I wouldn't be surprised if one day I was driving home from a CAG meeting at 11 o'clock at night, you know, down these back roads, and a vehicle comes and takes my vehicle out with no lights, because that is the reality of where we are. The reality of how big, how massive what Ford did, and how many millions of people that this has affected. That's why we can't get past the door, right? That's why
I'm saying, so if we do get past this door, though, is what I'm saying. If we usually even with the what they have out there, didn't focus on the humility, the suffering, the pain, almost as if what's out there about this still doesn't highlight the human element in all of this like it should. I believe this production is going to do exactly what they wish could never happen.
That's true, and I do have an answer for you.
Okay.
But I wanted everybody who is listening.
Okay.
And I wanted you to know our truth. Right.
Okay.
I just lost another cousin yesterday. Right. He died.
I'm sorry.
Right? I have another cousin that a couple of days before Christmas was given 3 months to live. What would probably happen is if it came to us, right? We are currently engaged with the state of New Jersey to do a land taking of 500 acres. And half of that is land that we could disturb. And it would be to create a new community,
okay,
right? Just over the ridge, where we suspect that no dumping occurred. And we need to be able to rebuild our community, and we need to be able to make it so that any Turtle Clan member, right, who was born into that community or born there, right, and then moved to towns that were around it, thinking that they could escape, you know, that, which they couldn't, right? But to be able to allow us to rebuild our community, allow us to have a urban Indian healthcare center, a community center, you know, have our own, you know, cottage industry, you know, put up greenhouses that are year round so we can produce food for our people, right? Not just to realize food sovereignty, but to heal through eating highly medicinal valued food, right? If they it would never be enough of what they could ever give us, right?
Okay.
That would be one half of it. The other half would be that right now their intentions is to leave a mind-boggling amount of toxic soil and paint sludge and other chemicals in place. And they're going to be capping it, right? And we're in a long contention with the EPA when they talk about Peter's Mine. Now, Peter's Mine is 2,400 feet to the bottom, 17 levels and hundreds of miles of tunnels, right? They talk about, oh, we removed, you know, however many 60,000 tons of paint sludge. That's what they write. But when I'm face to face with them, I get them to tell the truth. Well, out of that 60,000 tons that you removed, right, or 6,000 tons that you removed, how much of it was actually paint sludge, right? We understand, because it was in a document that came out of Congress, that there was 16 million pounds being disposed of every quarter. That doesn't include all the trees that it affected. That doesn't include all the water. How much does a gallon of water weigh, right? It doesn't include all the soil, the sediment, the rocks, the everything. That is why we don't get to see the light of day. right? That is why, Love Canal, right? They got all the help in the world. And they didn't just remove the people out of Love Canal twice, they removed people out of Love Canal 3 times. Love Canal only had 23,000 tons of toxic material. 23,000 tons, right? Ford was dumping 16 million pounds every quarter. What does that equal in tons? I'm sure that it just in 1 year is more than 23,000, right? And how is it okay to remove those people who are not us, but they are our relatives, right? How is it okay to remove them out of there and say that, well, they qualify and meet the standard for relocation, and yet we called a meeting last year, I believe it was, or the year before, with the EPA, invited the state of New Jersey there. All of these lawyers are in there, and we're presenting to the EPA Region 2 head. And we said to her, Lisa Garcia, this is all the reason why. We showed her on the screen. All of this, the toxic material, this is where it is, this is where it's found, blah, 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 blah. You need to remove these people. Oh, well, we're going to take this information and we'll get back to you all. And in the end, what they said was that they don't believe that we qualified for relocation. If the United States, the White House, right, or somebody of importance, family, was sitting over top of what they thought was a vacated intercontinental ballistic nuclear warhead, right, that they thought was deactivated, and they were living on top of that. I think that they would remove them. They would take them and put them somewhere. That's what we're sitting on. We're sitting on the largest bomb to go off, right, in the environmental world here in northern New Jersey. You have 4 to 6 million people who rely on the Wanacue Reservoir every single day, right? The water in Newark, New Jersey was worse than Flint, Michigan. Before Flint, Michigan, before they flipped that switch, after they flipped that switch, meaning that during the time that the water was toxic, right? And then after they flipped it back to the other potable water source, Newark water has been worse than every single one of those things. Newark, New Jersey gets the majority of their water from the Wanacue Reservoir. The Wanacue Reservoir is less than a mile away. The water from that area in 1918 or 1916, the Sarah Hewitt, who was a descendant of the Hewitt family, right? And Ringwood was a company town. My family worked for the Hewitt family, right? They took care of the grounds of their mansion. They took care of their cattle. One of them actually saved one of their daughters, which was Sarah Hewitt, right? Which is Sally. And that is why the pond that's over there is called Sally's Pond. And the toxic water runs off of the site, runs into Sally's Pond. And right at the mouth of Park Brook, where the water goes in, they found 1,4-dioxane. 1,4-dioxane used to be an emergent chemical, but now it's an emergent chemical. It's one that kills you. It has cancer-causing properties to it. There's not even a sign that tells you not to fish in Sally's Pond. So the other part that needs to happen here is not just about creating a new community for us so that we can begin a healing process, which is going to take way longer and more lifetimes over than I care to imagine. But the other part of that is that the people who are living in Newark, the people who are living in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, right? It's one of the wealthiest towns there is. They get 18% of their water from the Wanacue Reservoir. They don't know it, right? They changed out the lead lines in Newark, and I told the commissioner of the DEP, I said, you know what? I applaud you for your efforts, right? Because lead pipes should not be anywhere in the ground anymore. I said, but you didn't fix the problem. Right? There needs to be a reverse osmosis, system at the Wanacue Reservoir, right? Treating that water. And when I brought this up to the people who run the Wanacue Reservoir, the North Jersey Water District, they said, oh, Chief Mann, well, you know how much money that's going to cost? I said, I don't care. How much does one life cost? How much does it cost the state of New Jersey for people who become ill and sick and cannot work, they have to go on Medicare or Medicaid because of environmental reasons, right? How much money is that worth? You know, why are you not going to do a pump and treat, you know, system at Peter's Mine where you're taking the toxic water out and replacing it with clean water, right? Why are you not going to do these things? And the reason why they're not going to do it is because in their world, you know, it's all about $1 and a cent. And it's also about not owning what you've caused. That little document that I have from Sarah Hewitt in 1916 was the land deed for all this particular land that she created because they were building the Wanakee Reservoir, right? It was completed in 1923. In her land deed, and it says in there to run with the land, that no one will ever be able to have a dump, not a municipal dump, not a big dump, not any small dump. No one will ever be able to dump any, you know, toxic chemicals. And if they do, right, that they would have to remediate it 100%, right? And that is to run with the land. It says in there, it doesn't matter whoever owns it. So here we have Ford Motor Corporation in the town of Ringwood. Town of Ringwood puts these illegal municipal dumps. Ford begins to use this area, and the state of New Jersey gives them a permit for a year. If they dump for 10 years, right? Illegally dumping toxic material there when there was a land deed that says you can't do this. And the reason why is because it was where the water flows from to recharge the Wanakee Reservoir for the people who drink it. To include our people. Like I told you before, there are open air cisterns. There are holes in the ground that fill up with the toxic water, groundwater that comes from the site. And that water there, they would take that and send that back in the pipes up to our people's houses. The largest organ on your body is your skin, right? Mm-hmm. So when a mother becomes, you know, a woman becomes pregnant and she's drinking water and taking a shower and all those other things and cooking food and making Kool-Aid or whatever it is, they're ingesting that. And then that little baby who is growing inside is attached to that mother. And that baby is getting exactly what that mother is getting, right? And then when that baby is born, that baby is taken and put into one of those wash tubs with the toxic water and their skin, and they're drinking breast milk that's toxic, and they're getting formula made with water that's toxic. Their food is being prepared with the water, it's toxic. It is just mind-blowing. It's mind-boggling, you know, that we're not the only community suffering, and I want everyone to know that too, right? But this community here has showed perseverance, right? Has showed the will to, you know, to walk on their hands, crawl on their stomachs for this reality for them to end, even though they understand that the suffering of our people will continue until we are not living and drinking and breathing toxic anything.
Well, thank you, Chief. I would like to ask you a few questions. I couldn't help but number one is we're going to see this out as much as we can to bring exposure to this and make it a reality. I want to show my brothers and sisters real quick, if you will. 1 second. I want to show where Lamont, yourself, and others would like to go with this. All right. Lamont said he's seeking to be in pre-production by this spring. Spring is right around the corner. Echoes of the Ramapo, right? Echoes of the Ramapo, and bring to light, right? Bring to light what's really going on over there, the corporate cover-up of what's tantamount, like I said earlier, to murder. And being that the corporations don't want to help with this, you know, because who knows, based on what you're saying, they're part of the problem. I was speaking to Lamont, and he said, listen, he'd rather do it himself. He'd rather y'all get together, just like Paramount Plus. He have the expertise to do what he did for that and brought light to that. When it comes to 72 hours at Rittenhouse Square, right? So there's a GoFundMe that he said he want to do strictly for the production side of things to get, some attention. Echoes of the Ramapo. I believe this is going to be big. I put it in the chat right now. Lamont is working on launching it because right now it's still a few steps need to be taken in order for them to actually raise money with this. All right. The fundraising was paused because he want to make sure that attention is given to the gravity of this before it's launched. But it'll be there to collect money soon. And another thing that Lamont said he want to do, and I think is a great idea, he's going to keep a crowdfunding graft where if people donate this way or either through his Cash App, he'll be able to show the money collected, not touched, and the money going into the production for this particular project. It must be grassroots. It must happen from the soil where our people, God's people, are working together to expose mass murder. Okay? And I'm glad you gave the example, Chief. You gave the example of the exposure, Schindler's List and others, of what we see would happen in Germany on the outside of this country, which was a Holocaust or a travesty to a particular group of people. And here it is. You've been here since before even they came here. Where's your Schindler's List? Where's your movie to show the suffering of our children there? So we can't expect any of them to get behind this. We're getting behind this because it doesn't stop with you. A lot of our brothers and sisters don't know, Chief, that this water is poisoning our people in Newark, New Jersey, who can't afford to have clean water. So right now, I'm going to put Lamont's Cash App out there. And if you donate for this, just make sure you put in the subject section, right? Make sure you put in Echoes of the Ramapo. So if you crowdfund or if you send through Cash App, put in that, and he'll make sure that money is separate from things, and he'll collect it all and show exactly where the money's going until this production is a reality. The Cash App is right in front of you here. $ Lamont Fountain. $Lamont Fountain, just like that. Just put in there Echoes of the Ramapo so that he can keep that separate from anything else until this Cash App get up and moving. Okay, and I'm going to support this. No sooner as it's up, I'm going to come back and do another report and show my donation towards it because we have to bring exposure to this. And I believe if it's done right, and this is the man to do it, when it's done right and our people stand together, this is something they will not be able to ignore. Straight out. Straight out. They won't be able to ignore it. And guess what? This is what helping our people, this is what it's about. The corporations are silently destroying our people. And it's not just Ramapo. It's, look how many of our people live in northern Jersey. Look how many of our people live. We drink this water. He said that they were burying their own family members in the community every day for months. And yet you don't hear anything. You don't hear Biden talking about this. You don't hear Trump talking about this. So we're going to make this a reality. Now, I couldn't help but notice, Chief, that when you came in with your, 'cause before you did the presentation to let us know exactly what's going on, and again, you have my deepest condolences and support and prayer. And I'm gonna tell you, you're not alone. We're gonna be here with you and behind you. But I couldn't help but notice a language you were speaking that's so close to what we teach. We teach the ancient Phoenician Hebrew. And I couldn't notice how close your dialect was to the ancient Hebrew, not the modern Hebrew we hear in Israel today. Of course, you must know there's a similarity between your language and the Hebrew. And if so, I need you to give me some insight, because when I'm going to play it back after I'm done. I'm like, do this brother know that the indigenous people are from the lost tribes of Israel?
Aren't they all?
Huh?
Aren't they all? You know, one of the things that, so the language that I was speaking was Muncie. Muncie is the oldest language when we go back to archaic time here. That means that every tribe or nation of people who are considered the French word Algonquin speaking, right, which is from Canada all the way to Florida and over to the Mississippi, that all of their languages, Algonquin speaking people, all of their languages use our language as the subroot. That means that when you say ancient, the Ramapo is the only tribe that I've ever seen where it was written about the people here in the United States, the indigenous people of these lands, spoken about as ancient. And when I first saw that, it was actually in a newspaper article. Again, I think it was around 1923, and they were dredging a lake, and it was called Whittick Lake. Later became known as Glenwild Lake, and they were dredging it to create a reservoir for Butler, New Jersey residents. And when they were dredging that, there was something that floated to the surface, and they wrote in this newspaper article that it looked like Saragossa seaweed. So they went out there, and what they discovered was that there was either 3 or 5 ancient dugout canoe bottoms. And the federal government came in, the Smithsonian Hay Foundation, and they listed those canoe as being 800 years old or older, from an extinct cedar tree, and belonging to the ancient tribe, the Ramapo. That's the very people who denied us our federal recognition, right? Those are the very people who said that, well, we don't know which tribe of first contact you come from. There's the very people that in the same year that the Superfund site was closed out in 1994, said that we had no Native American blood in us and that we were Afro-Dutch. That's the same federal government that in 2000, when we sued them, right, because they said we weren't Indian, that they admitted in the Third Circuit Court, the federal court, right, under oath, they perjured themselves, yet nobody stood up. Nobody stood up and said, Your Honor, they just perjured themselves. Right? How is it that it's never been a question today that the Ramapo are Native Americans, but in 1994, the same year that we, the federal government, close out a federal Superfund site, deny them their federal recognition? It isn't because they don't know who we are. It's because of the proximity of our people to be able to stay in this land, left here by our ancestors, right? To protect and watch over not just the land, but the land that holds the bones of our ancestors, right? New York City, Manhattan, Western Connecticut, the Golden Coast, where they call it the Golden Banana or whatever they call it, right? Fairfield County, Bedford, New York, right? Stanford, right? All of these places, right? It's also why, the the 7 title insurance companies got together in the state of New Jersey, hired a lawyer. Governor Chris Christie at the time wasn't the governor, he was the attorney general. He literally hired or made that lawyer for the title insurance companies the liaison between the state of New Jersey AG's office and the federal government gaming commission, which has nothing to do with federal recognition, right? And so this is all happening at the same time. If the Ramapo became federally recognized in 1994, guess what would have happened? We would have been able to sit in the room with the town of Ringwood, right, who's guilty, right, who allowed dumping there, took money. We would have been in the room with Ford Motor Corporation, who did the dumping. We would have been in there with the state of New Jersey, who gave a permit for the dumping. And we would have been there with the EPA, right, who supposedly makes decisions but doesn't. They allow corporations to run federal cleanup sites, right, even though they're the ones who did it, and hire the environmental companies to do it. We would have been sitting in that room. And they want to sit there and tell me that we are that important to this process that we need to be involved, yet they won't let us be in that room with every single person who's done wrong to the Ramapo Turtle Clan people. And why is that? Because with federal recognition, we could have sat there and said, no, you're not doing that. Yes, you are moving our people. You know, yes, you are going to be giving us our health care. Yes, you are going to be doing the research to figure out, you know, how our DNA had been changed because of and altered because of being exposed to that much chemical, right? You are going to do that. And they took that right away from us, right? They denied us that.
Well, Chief, let's do this real quick because we're running up the time, but I want to, and we're going to bring some transparency to all of this, right? But let me now hold tight because I'm going to bring you back in. Let me bring back in Lamont so we can talk about getting this production underway. Can you stick with me for a moment?
Absolutely.
Hey, Lamont, are you with me?
I'm here.
All right. Let me pull you up here. Let me pull you up 1 second. All right. So Lamont, how do we go about this? Now, you know, I want to just say thank you for bringing this to my attention. Right? Us sitting, we talk, and thanks for because I didn't know the depths of this. I didn't know that this water was poisoning all the way into Newark. Right? We have churches all around these places. Right? So I see that the GoFundMe is on pause, but yet you can start collecting through Cash App that you can just, how are you going to go about this? What is the number you're seeking to get to realistically? Right? And then it's going to be full transparency because I'm going to bring you in ever so often to give an update on where we are so that we can get this thing rolling.
So I set the GoFundMe at 100,000. And you know, through my research, they advise you not to set it too high because, you know, if you don't reach it, it would not look good, you know, and it's a whole it's a whole science to crowdfunding. So I set it at 100,000, but I think it would take, realistically, I think it would take 300,000 to do this right. But
and what exactly? Let's talk about it. 300,000 to do it right. And what exactly will it be? It would be a mini series.
So this would be the pilot for a series. We have an outline for a 9-episode series or a 9-episode season, and we have a script, a first draft of a script for the pilot episode.
Okay.
So this is to shoot the pilot episode, to get the actors, to get the crew, and the reason why I say 300,000 because that's the lowest. I don't know if anybody knows about SAG or the Screen Actors Guild. When you want to get big name actors in this because it's going to draw the attention from the world. So, in order, even if you hire a big name actor, even if they'd be like, look, I'll work for $50, you still have to reach a certain amount and to be able to follow SAG protocols. So 300,000 is the low mark. That's the micro budget. And I'm an independent filmmaker, so I've been doing it for little money forever. So
okay.
I think we can get it done. Now, if we come under 300,000, I think we will still be able to get it done. We would probably just not be able to use big name actors.
Okay, now when it comes to this, right? When it comes to the production side of things, right? I need you to just bear with me here.
Yeah.
When it comes to doing this and you get it all done and proofed, then it comes to the fact that you didn't have to get other executive producers in to control the narrative. Now you're able to shop this to Paramount, Netflix, or whatever the case might be. And it could end up being something that can be advantageous financially, that can have money go into other projects like this, correct?
Yeah.
Or what options do you have if there isn't Netflix or Paramount Plus? And actually getting it out there yourself. Let me hear about that. Is it YouTube? What is it?
Let me be sure I understand what you're asking me. So you're saying if an executive producer comes on board and they want to make changes.
Well, usually if you crowdfund, you get a chance to say, with a high percentage of how the project is going to go, because you don't want to be deterred or have corporations come in and say, well, take this out or take that out. If it's your money, if it's our money, then we say how this goes, and we're not pulling punches, right?
Right.
That's the benefit of it. Yeah.
Right. The beauty of crowdfunding, because crowdfunding for the independent filmmaker is like a miracle, because, to this day, you have crowdfunding campaigns that are successful are still very rare. You know what I mean? You have to have a big network of people. And this is why I really never thought of crowdfunding for this. My intention, I've been meeting with the chief for over a year.
Yeah.
And we've been traveling back and forth to North Jersey and meeting with the people and meeting with chief and talking and going through all of these things and learning. And, my original idea was like, okay, we have a little bit of a relationship with Paramount. This is something that we can tailor.
Okay.
And maybe that Paramount will like it.
Yeah, put that on the Paramount machine, being that you have a relationship there already. But still,
right.
But I'm saying, but I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, let me tell you. The beauty of crowdfunding, if we are able, and I know it's possible, if we are able to raise the money to shoot this the right way, without any network involvement or any help, it allows us to not only control the narrative, it also allows us to do it the right way. And,
okay.
It's also a benefit financially, because if you have a completed project and it's good, you have more leverage when you talk to these networks, and it works out better for everybody, because these networks want content.
Okay.
These streaming platform content.
All right.
And with content, if it's something that's already done, they're more willing to pay for that than to pay to produce it.
Okay, so what
and
we'll
it
do.
might not work out.
Okay, so what we'll do is people already started supporting. All praises. Make sure you just keep a graft, right? With the money come in, make sure you put it all to the side, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an update to see where things are and what we got to do to push it forward. Right? We're going to do another update probably in a couple of weeks to see where it's at and what can be done. All right? We're going to do that. And it's $ Lamont Fountain. Just like his name, $ Lamont Fountain. Put
the phone number in there too, because
because other people now. I don't want you to get any crank calls, but you sure you want to do that?
That's fine.
Okay. You'll deal with the crank calls. All right. Hey, well, I'm gonna put the phone number there, and you and your wife can be on standby and dealing with a bunch of weirdos out there.
I get about 37 robocalls a day, so
get ready. Okay. All right. Let me put. Hey. Listen. Hey. I'll be thinking about myself and what I'm trying to avoid, but I guess you can handle it. Let's see here. Let me. I tried to warn you, but don't worry about it. Here it is. I'm gonna put it with the. I'm gonna
give me second thoughts now.
Oh no, it's okay. I'm gonna put it with the phone number, actually. Right. Therefore, because others may have the same name, you don't want it to go to the wrong place. Right. So let's do it like that. All right.
And just if everyone can remember to put Echoes of the Ramapo in the notes, so we know what's coming in from
Cash App. There it is. Okay, this is how you can support Cash App. He's not going to spend it. He's not making a school for boys. You don't have to worry about that. He actually going to produce something. All right. All right. $ Lamont Fountain 215-920-22000 Cash App. That's 215-920-2200 Cash App, and make sure you put in what Echoes of the Ramapo. This way you can keep it separate. How long will it be before the cash for the GoFundMe is up and running, ready to receive? Okay, how long?
It says 2 to 3 days. I'm gonna see if there's some, because I want these to also be counted with the GoFundMe.
Yeah,
so I'm going to see if I can transfer these to the GoFundMe once it's live. But please, I mean, if you want to give now, please don't hesitate to use the Cash App.
Yeah,
we'll put it to the project.
You'll put it to the side. You'll actually, and we'll show updates to know it, so that people can know exactly where their money's going, and that one thing about it is we fear the Most High. Okay. And one thing I like about this, especially seeing that documentary you put together, man, I'll tell you this is going to be heartfelt delivered. I can't wait, because I'll tell you the ideas that I even have after this. So to bring the plight of our people to light all together,
I mean,
listen, I would like to do something, a historical piece, even if we have to do it with unnamed actors, with the right characters, with certain stories from each tribe, biblical stories, with the right people. When I say with the right people, we're going to have the real physical representation of the nations in it. But let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's get this off the ground. And guess what? Once this machine start rolling, we're going to represent. Okay? We're going to represent. And I'm going to tell you, they thought they can hold us back. But all in all, you can't stop the children of God. You can try to cover it up. Let me tell you, when you attack God's people, you are at war with God himself. And one thing that they never expected us to do, folks, with their divide and conquer strategies, they never expected our people at this very time, as prophecy stated it would, they never expected us to come together. Okay? And one thing about this, that's why I asked the chief. I'm like, the corporation's going to come to you now that they realize that, that this is going to be covered. They've been trying to cover this up for a long time, the death and destruction of our people. And you see what he said. He's going to go through with it. And guess what? The Most High God is behind him, regardless of the threat of the corporations, right? It's time for us to stand together and help our people with what we have, or we'll end up with nothing anyway. And I want to state this, and I'm glad the chief came on, right? And I don't know if y'all mind answering a few questions while y'all on. Y'all mind answering a few questions tonight? Okay, well, we're going to bring in some questions. This was found in Newark, New Jersey, actually. It was in the Newark Tribune a long time ago that they found ancient Hebrew. They also found stones and all that in Ohio that had the ancient Phoenician Hebrew. And that's what blew me away when I heard his dialect. I'm like, man, it sounds like Lawya is teaching a Hebrew class right now. That's the ancient dialect. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you again before we open up the calls, Chief. Do you know that they're coming against you and seeking to poisoning you, because they know that your people, the indigenous people, are from the lost tribes of Israel? And I'm not talking about you converting to a religion. I'm talking about bloodline. Do you know that they know that you're from the lost tribes of Israel, Chief?
I would presume that that they do know, right? I would, right? There is those who we see and those who we don't, right? They still live within the confines of what we know as Mother Earth, and they've controlled all of our lives for way too long, and this is the coming of the people. Even their own people, they tortured and brutalized, ridiculed. And then they came here, right, to escape that torture.
Only to begin the torture again against the lost tribes.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
All right, so let's open it up. If y'all have any questions to ask, anything to add, here's your opportunity. Here it is. Hit the like button. You're doing a great job. And one thing I like to say, Chief, even man of gun, I respect your humility and your labor of love towards fighting for God's people. And see, one thing the others have is the machine behind them. Whatever narrative they have to protect their people, they have a conglomerate. They have what? They have the media. They have the news to protect their people. And we have nothing. We got. So when this opportunity came, I'm like, listen, with everything in me, this ministry that the Most High blessed me with through the Spirit of the Almighty God, it led for opportunity like this to show the spirit that's within this church to actually do exactly what we were called to do, to gather the lost tribes. And any opportunity to do so, we're here. We're in it. And folks, I'm going to tell you, everything that we ever said we would do here, it was seen through. And sir, we're going to help see this through. I mean, it pained me to hear what happened to these children there. It pained me. And this is the way we fight back. We fight together. 515-605-9327. Y'all just hold on. I'm going to open up the lines now. Lamont, do you have to say anything before I open up the line, sir?
Not yet.
Okay.
I was thinking of something, but I forgot it.
All right, that's fine. 515-605-9327. Here's your opportunity. Call in. 515-605-9327 if you have any questions for the chief and for Lamont. Okay. Concerning, you may have questions concerning any part of this, as far as to ask them personally. Here's your opportunity, especially for those who are supporting this production. And guess what? I'm excited about where this can go. And man, let me tell you, man, man, Lamont, brother, the Most High have blessed you with some skills. And guess what? But this is what we need. We need people with gifts like this, right? Because if you have the production people already, we can. I mean, it can be produced on a level of these multi-million-dollar scenarios if you got the people who already know how to do it, right? So
that's what I was going to say. I think crowdfunding, man, is so powerful because it's like you are the, we've been getting fed stories. We haven't been able to make our own stories. We've just been getting fed whatever the machine sees fit that we can see.
Exactly.
And this is powerful.
Well, that's the victor, right?
Yeah.
One that writes the history books, right? The ones that, fill museums on top of places where atrocities have taken place. And eventually, in this time that we're in now, those very museums that hold those things inside have come to us and ask us to speak, at their venues. And very first time that I did that was just this past year, and I went to the Museum of the City of New York, and there were curators from around the world, every country that was there. And the very first thing that I did before I began to speak was I asked, how many of you in here consider yourself indigenous? And I was blessed to see that every single person in there raised their hand, right? Because we all are indigenous. There's a misconception of what being a Native American in the United States is and being an indigenous person. And we are all indigenous to some place. The Creator, when we were thought into existence with that sound of that rattle, the Creator, Kishalomokwane, God, Allah, no matter what anyone would like to call that great mystery, chose for us to be in this space, right? That's what indigenous means. The Creator chose for us human beings to be in this place, which makes us indigenous to this space. That means that the animals, the fish, the birds, the trees, the nuts, the medicinal medicines that grow wild, the soil, all of that was prepared for us by God or the Creator, right? And yes, sir.
I would like to say this, but even though, and I honor your humility and I honor the respect and love that you have for humanity, right? I honor that. But I'm going to tell you, this love and humility you have, never change it. But this is what the enemy plays on. The enemy know that you have the spirit of our ancestors and others who invited them over and say, this land is your land. This land is my land. You've always had that spirit, but they didn't reciprocate. And it comes a time where we have to do what? We have to put a flag in the ground and say no more. So while it's honorable what you're saying, you can't tell the wrong person who's seeking to destroy your children that they're indigenous, because now you're telling them that they have stake to do what? To drive you and your family into the graves. So while I respect your humility, right? There's certain people you can't tell, because indigenous to them is you telling them that they have ownership over you. So I can, and let me say this. Lamont told me this about you though. He said, when you sit and speak with him and understand their people, their humility and love, it's something unfounded for what this world have become. And I'm hearing that. But you can see what this land is your land and this land is my land has done. These people aren't seeing it the way you're seeing it.
No.
So I love your heart towards this. And guess what? That's kingdom ready, because eventually we'll get there. But Chief, it's time for you to stake a flag in the ground and say no more. That's what time it is.
I have. And
okay.
What I was referring to, right, is that they're not the indigenous people of this land.
Okay.
Right?
All right. I just want to make sure, because you get Amalek hearing you get Amalek and they know who they are. You get Amalek hearing you tell them they're the indigenous people. You know what I mean?
They're indigenous to the land in which the Creator put them on, which is not here. It's across the salty water.
It's called the Mount. It's called Mount Seir. But we're gonna talk about that. Some people want to talk to you. It's called Mount Seir.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. They're indigenous to Mount Seir. All right. If you don't want to do it, don't worry about it. I'll throw the punches. All right. Hold tight. Hold tight. And let's open this thing up now. Get me all stirred up, because why? These people aren't harming anyone, and they're getting poisoned, burying their own, and he still have the humility and love in himself to still not feel, vengeance. You know what? That's an admirable spirit. Hey, the Most High is working with you. I'll tell you that.
Well, you know that we were all given our original instructions, right?
Well, we're going to talk. Listen, we're going to talk about those instructions, but let these people talk to you now, because we got some religious conversations and all that to have in the future. But regardless of our I would say paths, different paths, right? I have enough wisdom to know, right? I have enough wisdom to understand that through disagreements or through division or our different perceptions based on we were raised differently, that's fine. All in all, I know that our mission, this is where the mission that our God have for both of us meet. This is where the mission, this gives an opportunity for us to come together. Two tribes that have been divided for so long and come to a consensus. Okay? And that consensus will be had, I guarantee you. But let's get this done first, right? 1 second. Hold on. There's one thing I want to show people that we're going to be doing soon before are we going to have some fun? Are we going to have some fun? Oh, yeah. Let me show y'all where we're going with this. Right? Let me show y'all where we're going with this. All right. This is going to be some fun stuff for those who are on Patreon and follow us real quick. This is going to be some lovely stuff, because on your screen, let me show y'all something. Hold on. Let me show it. Hold on. Yeah. On your screen. Woo, this is going to be good. We're going to revisit the Jewish Confessions from Peace FM, part 1 through 5. We're going to revisit this soon. We're going to cut it up, parse it up. It's 5 hours of just greatness. We have Elder Rawchaa, primed and ready on Peace FM, right here, myself. we have on this side a convert from America with the hat on. We have next to him Ishmael, the son of Ishmael, who turned Christian, who didn't have no idea what he was getting drawn into. And on this side, his cousin, who said, let's get the Hades out of here because I've never seen somebody go through the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah and rip all of our ancestors a new one. Boy, I looked at this the other night. A matter of fact, just for good measure, young man, what I'm gonna do for you, Lamont, I'm gonna show you. Let me tell you, you put this on in your car, man. Are you gonna have a good time with this one, right? So what I'm gonna do when I'm done with this, Lamont Minigun, I'm gonna give you that. This is my intervention with a brother from Peace FM, Gaja, who introduced us to a predominantly black radio broadcast in Manchester, New Jersey. I mean, no, Manchester, New Jersey is in my mind. I'm sorry, Manchester, England. This a Manigan. This thing went throughout all of Europe. It was to the point where the Jewish Defense League of the United States had to call into the radio station to get everything shut down. This was the broadcast that changed the religious landscape right here. And we're going to be dealing with this and more starting on Patreon this Friday. And I'm going to be putting up little clips on this particular platform, A Gathering 144. I hope you all are ready. Jewish Confessions Part 1 through 5. It's going, get your popcorn ready. That's all I got to tell you. Lord have mercy. All right, let's get through. We have, thank you, Elder Rawchaa. We have Elder Rawchaa screening calls. And our prestigious guest is waiting to hear from you all and are willing to answer any questions. We're gonna get to the finances to get this done. I'll tell you that. 347 area code. Shalom.
Hello.
How are you? Your name and location.
Yeah. I'm in New York.
Oh, okay. Your name?
Okay. My name is Cora.
How you doing, Cora? You have questions for our guest?
Yes. Is the chief still there? The chief still on?
Yes, the chief is with us. Chief?
Yep.
Okay.
How are you, Cora?
Yes, chief. I just wondered if you understand that, you call yourself indigenous. Do you understand that your real origination is in Israel? That your tribe, your original tribe is the tribe of Gad. Do you understand that, Chief?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think, Cora, I don't think we got there yet because I really didn't want to make this a conversation where I was going to have conversations with him privately with that. Right?
Oh, okay.
Because what I didn't want anything to overshadow this initiative to help people who are suffering. Now, when it comes to beliefs and all that, I got a bunch of history books and everything that I'm gonna drop on his doorstep, and I'm sure he has some things he can give me that I'm gonna use in this academy to blow things away when it comes to certain history of the indigenous people before we got here. So that's a conversation that we'll have as men. We'll have that conversation as men later, but right now, we're focusing on the task at hand, and that's getting the word out here. But no, he don't know that yet. We haven't had that discussion. But we have, in time, in time, Cora, there's a time and place for everything. And right now, because when you discuss certain things like that, sometimes, especially when one is rooted in his culture and whatever the case might be, the same as me, You don't want to come to a filibuster where it's about this is what I believe and this is what you believe. Right? We have right. We have these conversations that lead to the leisure times in which we can have conversations like I was mentioning when I sat next to my fellow brother in here. And then the opportunity came where it came. All right. So no.
All right.
And guess what? And listen, sister. Tonight also, I'm not here to teach him that he's from the tribe of Gad.
Oh, okay.
I'm not here. Okay. I'm a teacher, but I'm not here for that. I'm here for step one. And step one is our people are suffering, our people are dying, and whether not anyone know who they are, I know who they are, and I'm going to help them. Right?
Okay.
There you go.
Since I have you on, can you also give me some pointers as to how I have another friend who is Naphtali, and she's staunch Catholic, and I wonder how I was trying to figure out a good way to approach her to let her know.
Cora, that's a great question. You know what the best way to do it? Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, it's impactful. Mm-hmm. I would take that lesson, the 12 lost tribes found, that old lesson we did years ago, and just center that. I know, I still have it. Center that link and say, center that, say, look at this, and just tell me what you think. You would be surprised how many people had a newfound love of the Bible after seeing that particular historical, biblical piece of, I would say, a time and space that can never be ascertained.
Right.
You send that, Sister Cora.
Okay.
Send that to her, okay?
Okay.
Bless you. All right.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Listen, I've never heard a dialect from the North American Indian so close to the ancient Phoenician in my life. I heard him say that. I'm like, whoa, this is deep. It's not going to be hard expounding and sharing with him. Believe me. Believe you me. 214 area code. A matter of fact, Elder Lawya, whenever you want to come on, let me see if I can get Elder Lawya up in here. See if Elder Lawya heard what I heard. Lord in the morning. Hold on. Huh? Let me get it. There go Elder Lawya right there. My partner in Christ here. There it is. I'm like, what? You see what the Most High is doing? Come on in here, young man. Let me go get it. 214 area code. And it was deep when I was asking that rabbi the other day, and I asked him about I asked him in this video, debate conversation, I asked him about the special way of rabbi circumcision with no hands. The circumcision with no hands. And he expounded with some very, very telling information on, let's get straight to the point what it is. Right? He just said, listen, let me tell you how we do this. The circumcision with no hands will be introduced. Make sure, any child under 16, parental discretion is advised. Okay? The way he's trying to drop it, right? He's dropping it from the Talmud. But I'm going to leave that for it's happening. Don't worry about it. Let's do it. Ross has a comment. Yes, Ross.
Hey, Elder, how you doing?
I am blessed by the best, and his name is Ahaya. Talk to me.
And his name is Ahaya. I love your energy today. So I just I missed most of the session, so I'm going to go replay. I came in right when you opened the lines up.
Oh my goodness!
But I noticed you're speaking to a Native American gentleman. So I have a question about that. But first, I just wanted to comment real quick. I've been trying to reach you. I was one of the callers that wasn't able to get through last Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I was just wanted to make a brief comment. I know when people overseas and the in Israel today, those people, I noticed that they trace their lineage through their mothers, and only one other group of people that I noticed to do that is when you look at witch covens. I noticed that you had a few lessons in times past about witch covens, and it made me think, wow, they trace their lineage on who is next in line to do this practice. They trace it through their mother's too. So I was wondering if there was any correlation between covens and religions that people choose today, and why they choose maternity lineage versus paternity lineage.
Now, I've spoken to a even though we like, this is the last one I'm going to take where we're going off topic. I don't like that, but
oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Don't apologize. You're here now. There's two separate things, right? And I've spoken to a rabbi who tried to explain to me why they do it outside of knowing that the genealogy comes through the father. I didn't have to explain to the rabbi that when you go to Genesis 10, Genesis 11, all these genealogies that lead to who people are, Ham, Shem, or Japheth, is through the father. So what happens to where y'all talking about through your mama? And he said, well, we know that the lineage is through the father, but it's more so a cultural thing. Why? It gives the responsibility of the woman to hold the tradition and teach it to the children, so they value that more so to keep what? To keep the solidarity of their people together by strengthening the woman with the responsibility of carrying the culture. So it's more cultural and traditional than it is, what you would call through the genealogy, which is common sense, is through a man, right?
Okay.
So they'll tell you that they know it's through the father too, but again, they don't care about the father or mother part because they're more so through conversion anyway. They're more so through conversion. So the whole thing is, when you look at what happened in the second century under Hyrcanus, you had a large number of Idumeans who converted into Judaism right before Christ came on the scene, on the Antipater and the Herodians. So all in all, they didn't care about the father or mother because they're not through the genealogy of Jacob anyway. So it's more so keeping their tradition and culture in place. That's all that is.
That makes sense.
All right. So let me
that
go
makes
to.
Sense. I appreciate that breakdown.
Yeah, but I had a rabbi tell me that because it didn't make any sense to me that the Torah says that the genealogy is through the father, and I couldn't imagine that Jacob's lineage or line would be through Rebecca. Like, give me some understanding there.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah, and I think it's a slight delay. I think it's a slight delay in the phone, but I had a quick question.
Oh, no, you can't do a quick question. You cannot do a quick question until Friday. That was smooth how you tried to get that in there, but it's sweet. Hold tight.
No, it was serious because I work with a lot of Native American tribes, and I just had a question about the way that they, how do I say this, like verification of address. Like, they don't have addresses with reservations, so you have to, like, when you're trying to verify where your assets are, and you're working with a Native American tribe, it's the like, we have our address. There's this like left at the Red Barn over the hill. That's their address. So it just got me to thinking, when us as black people,
hey brother, listen to me.
We return our lineage.
Listen, you're running into something else. I can't allow it because you came in late. I answered your question and you're flowing into something else. It's not. You got to have a high decorum for the respect of our broadcast. All right. But I'm with you. I answered your question. May the Most High be with you until Friday.
So I apologize about that.
Don't apologize. I'll talk to you Friday, my brother. All right. My brother.
All right, y'all have a good one. Bye.
My brother. Martin has a comment.
Shalom, elders.
How you
brothers
doing?
And sisters.
Shalom, Martin. Where you from? What say you? Do you have questions for our distinguished guest?
I'm a Gadite out of BC, Canada, on the Edmonton body. I just want to ask the chief a question.
Okay, Chief.
How are you?
The chief is ready.
Peace and blessings, Chief. How you doing, brother?
Well.
Get this some reservation humor, man. You look like my uncle, not my chief. I'm just kidding. My uncle was a chief too, man. Oh, I was going to ask about the water thing. And did you know about the water settlement in Canada that's going on?
No, I don't know about the water settlement in Canada. We hear down here on this
how they like poisoned all the water in like most of the reservations in Canada.
Mm.
Yeah, our sister reservations is Moravian Town, Muncie, Delaware Nation, and then Oneida Sixth Nation, right? The Muncie people. And
I can't hear you,
I have
Chief.
had conversations with the chiefs there, you know, about their water, and you know, they don't drink their water. You know, they go and they get bottled water, and you know, this is a problem worldwide when it comes to MB, right, to that water. And there are ways to help to address them. Some of them are, you know, using water generators, where, you know, we can grab that water right out of the air and provide, you know, over 2,000 gallons of clean, fresh water to a community, while trying to work on correcting the problem. But we all know that that Mother Earth, you know, she doesn't need us to heal her. She will heal herself, right? You know, and the things that we do as human beings, like with climate change and environmental injustices.
Mother Earth can't heal herself if Ford have something to do with have to say about it.
That's correct. You know,
Right.
and so yeah, I'm not aware of the water settlement there, but I'm very happy to hear that there is one, and I would be very interested in you know, in looking into that and reading upon it.
Okay, real quick, my brother, give me the name of the areas that are being poisoned in Canada, if you can. The water, the bodies of water. You there?
Are you asking me, Elder?
Martin, yeah, you.
Elder. Oh, it's actually on a website. It's called the Canadian Water Settlement. It's almost every reserve in Canada.
So they've been targeting the reservations, and it could be intentional. So give me that again. Say it again.
Okay. The Canadian, I think it's this Canadian Aboriginal Water Settlement.
Okay.
It's on, you'll see there's a huge list. It's every reservation in Canada. But there's another thing I wanted to mention was that, so they allocated like $800 million settlement for this. And then what they did was like, okay, so of that 800 million, only 80 million is going to go to the people, right? Which I applied for because I was up there drinking the water on the reservation when we weren't supposed to be.
Mm.
And so only 10% of that money goes to the people. The other 90% is supposed to go to fixing the water infrastructure, which also tells me they haven't fixed the water yet, right? When they say this money is going to go to fix the water, that means they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, so what's
right?
going on here is everything is getting politicized, where the same people who are responsible for poisoning the water can now get paid on the other end from the political side.
Okay, so so get this, right? And then the settlement was supposed to come out last March, right?
Yeah.
And this company called Deloitte has the money, the government money. They took the 800 million, this law firm, and said, okay, we're going to distribute this money out. So I was supposed to get like $7,500, right, for getting poisoned. But so I keep calling them. I'm like, hey, where's my settlement? Oh, can you wait another month? I phoned them for 6 months, and it's still, now we're January, February now? Almost February, the next year. They still haven't given me my money. So I know, so I think, now in my head, I'm like, wait a second, these guys are collecting interest on that money before they pay as much as they can before they pay it out to us.
Hey, listen, you know what the payment is for our people. They'll ask you, did you get a jab? Did you get the jab? You can get that for free. They'll straighten everything out for everybody. But let me put you on hold. So I'm looking. Anytime they don't give you something free, you have to side eye it, right? Because the replacement, the whole answer is that you're not around to collect it. Okay. I'm looking at this right now. Class action litigation on the drinking water advisories on First Nations, right? And it's deep that the chief brought this out. He went all the way back to Margaret Sanger, how they were seeking to gas chamber the North American Indians and people from his tribe. And they stood up against this because it's really about eugenics and depopulation against God's people. And this is why documentaries, this is why series like we're talking about, I don't normally parse out time to do pieces like this, to show you how important this is. I'm going to tell you, they're killing us. And usually if they can't do it quick enough, the world gets a cold. And automatically something will come from Wuhan, China, and it'll end up where? In North Philadelphia. Oh yeah, y'all people are more susceptible. Y'all need it more than everybody. Something go from Wuhan, China to 16th and North Streets. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. It's eugenics, and I'm glad that chief pulled it out. These corporations are all of them in bed. Well, he named Rockefeller. When y'all go back, hear this. That's why, listen, it's very few times that I sit there for 20, 30 minutes just collecting data. I mean, this chief is a walking encyclopedia when it comes to history. And if y'all come in late, y'all need to hear this from the beginning. And when he dropped all the way from the 30s, what they were planning against our people. Okay, let me tell you, even though we are the lost tribes, and we've went into our own little conclaves of tribes. We're one tribe. We're the nation of Israel. And I'm going to do everything I can to bring awareness to this. Thank you, brother. And I'm going to look into this water thing you're talking about. Here it is. They promise you 7,500, and you sitting there. They say, yeah, lint in the pockets is what we give you. All right. As a matter of fact, go to your nearest pharmacy, and we got a few sweet ones for you. Get 2 for 1. And it's time for our people to stand up against this. I'm gonna place you on hold. All right.
All right, brother.
All right, my brother.
Thank you, Elder.
And listen, I let me tell you, I wouldn't doubt that at the time when Chief was dealing with this, at the time when they claimed the corporate code, I call it, that when this happened, that they tried to put a lot of numbers of people who were dying even before that happened under that stuff to try to cover their criminality. I wouldn't doubt that during that whole time period, the people who were dying from respiratory issues were being put under those numbers. Don't get me.
You got Bill Gates, who gave $60 million to Planned Parenthood, who's responsible for the death of over 60 million people of color.
Lord have mercy. Hold up. I don't. Chief. Chief. I want to parse this out with different subjects that I bring you on as a guest. So I don't need you spilling all the beans right now. Hold tight with me. Because I
got big cans of beans.
Sir, let me tell you, we're going to squeeze every little topic we can off of this. Let me tell you, brother, we're going to drop. Let me tell you, sir, this is just the beginning. Watch what I tell you. All over the world, sir, watch what I tell you. All right? We was over in England. They had the Jewish Defense League calling up in there. like how did they find me there, huh? Man, we would. Let me tell you, we would drop. We had the ADL, the JDL. It was more L's than you can think about. As we exposed the lies of the Rockefellers and others who come under the guise of philanthropy, that they're looking, when we understand that there's what? A depopulation agenda against God's people. And so here it is. Here it is, Chief. I know you're the good guy. You're the wonderful guy. This land is your land. This land is my land. But I'm here to say it's time for you to stick your flag in the ground and say no more space. All right? And I'm with you. Let's do it. We have Gwen with a comment. Come on now. We're going down. I only got about 10 minutes before this broadcast ends, and we will follow this up in a couple of weeks. Yes, Gwen, talk to me, sister. Where you from?
Okay. California.
And by the way, I took some, hold up. By the way, Chief, I took some clay pots. Let me talk to you about this, Chief. I took some clay pots, right? I learned this over in the Greek islands, how they used to cook food under the ground. And I got some lamb cleftico waiting, simmering with potatoes, onions, carrots, and it's sealed in a clay pot. And you put it in, I mean, you got the bay leaf in there, you got the Scotch bonnet, a little bit of that thing in there. You got the cold pressed olive oil, the ancient olive oil, and you put it up in that thing and you sprinkle your seasons up in that piece. That's what I'm waiting for. So people really gonna have to really be up on it, because I got some lamb cleftico, an ancient recipe from the Greek islands that I whipped up right before I came up on here. So I'm raring to go. Gwen, what you got?
Hey, Elder. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for doing this show today. This was absolutely incredible. And just thank you for that. And for Chief Mann, I was really moved listening to what's been going on there. It almost brought tears to my eyes, the stuff that's just going on, and no more, okay? And for Lamont, I just want to thank you for taking it up to do it. And Elder Rawchaa, thank you for supporting him, because people don't realize how important this is. And I know it's the end days, but there's some products, some movies that need to come out where we're in charge and we're doing it. And Lamont, I worked in production, both in front and behind the camera. And I just want to say this. I want to just let you know this. I know that you're used to like really big budgets, because that's all we would be around. But it doesn't take that much. 100,000, like you said, the starter. When you get that, you can do it. I just want you to know, because it's all smoke and mirrors. Everything smoke and mirrors. I've been learning this from Elder Rawchaa. It's like all of this to make you think you can't do it, but you can, because we're the children of Israel and God helps us. Okay? I've done short films in my early days where I just had enough to shoot. So I would shoot. And then the rest of the money came when I got ready to do the mix. You see what I mean? So be encouraged, brother. And I'm going to make a donation and be in touch. Thank you, Elder Rawchaa, for putting this on. This was absolutely incredible.
All praises. This is what we're here for, sister, from the beginning. And Gwen, you're right. It doesn't. But when someone is taking off time to do something like this, you have to think about the fact that you're not going to be able to work a job, and bills and all the mortgage and everything have to be paid so you can survive your way through this. So that's the whole deal. If he could have something, if this wasn't a labor of love that he had to jump 2 feet in and still keep a roof over his head and finish it. So that's why when he gave me a number, he said that number initially, and I looked at him and I said, that's to get it done. But if you're going to put in hours and hours and not being paid, how are you going to live? So all of that has to be, you're right, but all of that has to be in the mix of it to know, okay, how do I do this and not suffer and be out in the street helping our people do this too, right? So you got to come up with a number where you can balance, still live, get the job done to a point where it makes a profit, and now you have a bank that you can operate with, and you don't need the companies anymore. You now you have startup money.
That's right.
To give the devil hell, right?
Yes.
So that's what my thing is. Money
Yes.
is a defense. And I don't want us to sit back and think that we can do something scraping away, because he came to me with little numbers, and I looked at him and I'm thinking, okay, it's listen, you can think about it doing it that way, but then every time something happens at your home and rent got to get paid, that's time taken away from the project, and that kills a deadline. So you got to be realistic when it comes to budgets. And that was my point, sister. Right?
Yes.
All right.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Elder.
Right.
The Lord will provide. Believe
Because-
me, I'm willing proof.
See,
okay? The Lord will provide. Just keep going. I got to see this. This is so moving. Okay?
Thank you, sister. Sister, this is just the beginning.
And I'm willing to help. I will reach out to the brother and just thank you. And I'm so sorry that all of this happened to Chief Mann and our brothers Gad. Enough is enough.
That's
Let's
right.
do this, Elder Rawchaa.
Hey, sister, you know, if we talk about doing it, it's done. All right? We're going to do it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sister.
Yes.
And thank you for all your support,
Thank
Gwen.
you.
Bless you.
Bless you. I'll
All
see
right.
you in the academy Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we giving the devil uppercuts and body shots. All right? He's getting the thing done on it. Huh? Go ahead.
It's wonderful. And for anybody listening who hasn't done it, you'll never be the same. Okay, I just start taking and it's just a way of life for me now. It's awesome.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Bless you. Sister Gwen. Thank you, sister. Hey.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Hey, let me tell you, it's nothing like this genuine support and love. There's nothing like our people. You have something to say, Lamont?
No, I was just saying thank you to the sister.
Yeah. I mean, these are some wonderful people. Wonderful people. Wonderful people. I mean, I can't say enough. And that's why I said, and this is why I said, let's bring it before the people, because that's the genuine love that's within this church, and people who've been following this work, and they're willing to see a project like this through. So, Carol has a question for Lamont. All right. Yes. Carol?
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom. How you doing, Sister
Can
Carol?
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm blessed by the Holy Best. Ohio.
All right. You have a question for Lamont?
I have a question and a quick comment as well. My
Okay.
question to Lamont is, have you decided on what deadline date that you want the fundraiser to go up to? I mean, is there a deadline yet? Have you came up with that yet?
I'm thinking like 60 days. They didn't this is my first time using
Hello?
GoFundMe.
Okay.
And can you hear me?
Can you hear? Go ahead. Say it now.
So,
I
I'm
was
thinking
asking for Lamont, for the fundraiser, for the production, have you came up with the deadline date? Because I know you said spring, but is there a specific date yet?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, she can hear you.
I don't think she can hear me because.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So I'm thinking 60 days. I didn't set a specific date. But I think by the late spring, I think we should be able to go into pre-production. That's like what, 60 days? No, that's it. That's April. Yeah, so I think we should be able to go into pre-production by then.
You heard us.
Campaign.
You heard it, sister. He's thinking about going into pre-production by at least April. And of course, he'll be giving us updates as we get closer to the pilot.
To the deadline?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And I'm going to be doing updates.
And
on
also
the funding page.
for Chief Mann, I want to give my condolences to all the loved ones that you've lost, because there's not just your people. We're in this together. There are my people as well, our people, because we are God's people, the Most High God's chosen people. And my condolences to your losses. And I will continue to pray for you and your family and the tribe, so forth and so on. And may God continue to bless you and keep you. And that's about all.
Thank
and
you.
also, Elder Rawchaa, I haven't heard anything from anyone as far as Chicago, as far as the baptism.
Okay, hold on. I got you, Carol. You don't got to worry about it. I'm going to call you personally, Carol. You don't got to worry about hearing from anybody, because you're going to hear from me. How about that? How about that?
That sounds like a plan to me.
There it is. Hold on.
Thank you. Shalom.
Shalom.
And Lamont, nothing's too impossible for God. Just know that. Nothing's too impossible for the Most High God. He's the Almighty God. And this production will go through, and I will be donating and getting others as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. What a blessing. I appreciate you. Well, we're going to get this ball rolling.
Thank you.
All praises. Thank you, sister.
Okay.
I'm gonna place you on hold.
Sir. Yes, sir.
All right. We only got about a few more calls. I'll take about 3 more calls, and don't worry about it, Sister Carol. I'm going to call you about the baptism. We're going to get that rolling. Don't worry about nothing. I got you. All right. Gloria. That was my jam.
Good evening, Elder.
Gloria. My Gloria.
There he is.
Boy, I know you were feeling yourself every time you heard that song, ain't it? You were feeling yourself when that song. You couldn't tell the people they weren't talking about you. Huh?
Help him with his spot.
All right, talk to us, Gloria. What you got?
You telling the truth. All right. Hey, what I wanted to do was to ask the chief a little bit about the wisdom behind how to circumvent some of the damages that his people are suffering from with things like water filter treatment, water filters that can be homemade, things like solar water heaters that can help disintegrate toxins, and things that if they put together any kind of, brainstorming sessions, are they doing anything in the background? Because a lot of times when you're going through these things, the earth can give back what you need to then, this, Elder, we believe in the process of healing, and what that means is having the knowledge of what to do. And I'm just wondering how much, and it's hard to kind of run the battleground, meaning you're fighting against the organizations that have caused the problem, but then somehow you still have to try and deliver some kind of healing to the suffering that the people are going through. And so I'm just wondering, are they running two legs of that? And I know one is, this is not something that is a public matter oftentimes, but I just hope that the knowledge base is there for them to draw from, to build upon, for some of that to happen.
Okay, I'm gonna place you on hold, sister, real quick, and you can hear it on the other end. Is that good? Because I want to get through the calls, because that is
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gloria. Great question. Yeah, what she was asking was, because we are, as a church, we are big on the herbs. We have herbologists and all of these things, and we try our best to get back to what the Most High originally had for us, opposed to being so dependent on the pharmaceuticals all the time. It's part of our belief system is to get back to the herbs, and we have some high level herbologists, who are a part of the work. And what she was asking was, even though, the enemy is poisoning the lands, I'm sure you've come up with ways to naturally keep yourself strong through all of this. Like the example you gave was being able to pull the water out of the ear. But are there other things, herbal, medicinal wise, that your tribe is used to using that you actually had access to before the Mayflower?
There's a tremendous amount of things. I mean, just given the fact that, you know,
90 seconds.
Just given the fact that, you know, in the bark of the willow tree that was near the swamps, that those very people that came here and poisoned us and killed us, laid upon, if they would have actually set their fear aside, that was created by, you know, lack of knowledge, they would have understood and would have known that our ancestors provided them with this medicine. We actually, my wife and I actually created Muncie Three Sisters Medicinal Farm. And on this farm, we grow vegetables that are higher in medicinal value. And we are providing that food to our community in a free farmers market style venue. We are partnered with NYU Environmental Medicine out of New York. We have been partnered up with them for about 10 years because no one else would come to help us. So we worked with them to create our own health survey based upon our needs and our uses of medicinal plants.
10 seconds.
And then, that's what we're working on now. We're trying to heal our people from the inside out. We also believe that, you know, when the creator makes that sound, right, the one that thinks us into creation, and we replicate that in our rattles, and that is the sound of right? And we understand the connection of young humans, right, those young spirits that come from the womb and come back into this time. And when you give the baby that rattle, it soothes them because they are so close to that recreation, and they understand that and hear that sound. And we believe that, you know, when we come back from the spirit world into this world again, that this is a journey of healing, right? It's an inherent responsibility that we carry as human beings, you know, to love one another, to share our wisdom, to respect, honor, walk with humility, all of those things that, you know, we call that our fire, our original instructions, right? Original instructions were given to the world in the form of a tablet, right? And on those tablets, there was instructions. And sometimes what happens is that these words that we speak, sometimes they get in the way and they cloud the vision of seeing that reality and being repetitious with, you know, be kind to your neighbor, right? Love one another, share what you have with the person who lives next door, you know, to open that door for somebody, to pick up a paper that's blowing by the door as you're walking into some building, or just having that ultimate respect. I mean, we as human beings, right? The real thing about when we sit back and look at the world in its totality is that we are all striving, right, to not be the next species to go extinct, right? We're all working, right, to try to preserve and protect humanity. But humanity cannot thrive or work or even exist, right, when we separate ourselves from our natural world. And in order for us to be those humble people, in order to walk with our humility, even though, you know, we continue to be dumped upon, whether it's by chemicals or trees or words, you know, or actions, you know, we have to remember, right, that these things are way bigger than ourselves. You know, I was once asked on Facebook, there was this post that another relative of ours had put up. And what they put up was if all the Europeans in New York City had come down with this sickness and they were dying and everything, and would we go there to help them? And I watched this native community who is suffering and in pain by what has taken place over the last, 400 or 500 years. And the majority of them, the majority of them, you can just see the anger, the memories that's passed down through our DNA rise to the surface and it begin to explode. And they were all like, no way, I'm not ever going to do this. Let them die, blah, 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 blah. And I watched this for 2 weeks. And finally, I went on there and I spoke. And the words that I shared was that if we allow the actions of others to control us and to make us, in light of them, right, to resemble them, then what if we did not go there, if we did not help our relatives, right, that which consumed them was going to consume us. That what killed them is going to kill us, right? And that those words blown across that sacred fire, right? It took that fire that was raging and just brought it right back down to an ember again. Because sometimes we get caught up in the world in which we're in, because we have so much pain, we have so much anger, we have no way to give it up. Our medicine people tell us that, when we have things that fall upon our shoulders that we cannot control, that begin to consume us, that we take that the most sacred for us is our tobacco. And we offer up a prayer and we lay that tobacco down somewhere where it won't be disturbed. And we ask the Creator to take that from us, right? So it doesn't allow for that to consume us, so that we become that which we despise. Right?
Well, Chief, I'm almost out of time, but let me get one more call in. I'm with you though. I apologize, but I'm at the 9 o'clock hour, right? All right. But the spirit of forgiveness is key, right? Now I forgive, but I'm not gonna put you in a position to do what you just did. The Bible says, rebuke, and if thou repent, forgive. So I'm with you, but hey, hey, like I said, you got to put that flag in the ground and say no more. But again, I agree with you. I agree. I understand you dealing with the rituals and saying, well, I'm going to put something somewhere, my anger in the ground. But if the other side isn't playing that game, we got to understand, well, okay, I'm not going to harm you, but I'm not going to give you position to continue to harm me. All right. So
in my physical presence, I do. Right.
Yeah.
But we're sitting here and we're talking about God, Allah. Right?
Oh, no, we ain't talking about Allah. We talking about the Most High God of Israel.
Ki Shalom, right?
Yeah.
And that is the all-seeing and the all-knowing, right?
Yeah.
I have sat in front of those who, for whatever reason, have chosen the path, I don't know what the word is, right? They just want to allow for that colonialistic machine to continue to grind. What happens is that I need to stick 1 million flags in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, but
because I stick mine. Yeah, I stick mine in.
I'm with you, but there's this man who's related to all of us by the name of King David, right? Great man, right? He was there when the kingdom was united before, because it was a time your tribe wasn't here. You came over in 721 BC when the kingdom was split in Israel. And one thing about David was he understood, he prayed continually that the Most High would preserve us and protect us from the enemy. And guess what? He had the Most High chosen because he was the meekest man of the earth. But when it was time for him to take down that giant, he picked up a rock and took down that giant. So we're going to have more conversation, but we got to understand when humility, when those who deal with what? Psychology, let's put it that way, which is witchcraft, how they can use what? Our humility against us. Right? And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk, because don't stay the way you are. This is why the Most High God have gather together many members of the body. You need a protector that the Most High have sent to cover, to protect your blind side, or the part that humility exposes. Right? So, hey, we're here. One more call, 240 area code. Let's hit it.
Hey, Shalom, Elder Rawchaa. This is Brother Emmanuel from back in the day, Market Street.
I remember you, Emmanuel. You're the last call for this evening. It's the Lamb Klepto code is working, and I'm excited about this broadcast. I want to see where it goes. But you had a question for the chief.
Yes. First of all, this is my first time hearing about this issue, Chief, and I just want to give my condolences to all the stuff that's been happening to you and your tribe, and just to let you know that my prayers are going to be with you, and I'm sure most of the church is going to be praying for you. But my question is, my family's from the eastern shore of Maryland, and growing up, I always heard talk of people in my family being from the tribe, the Delaware tribe. And through my research, I found that I guess the tribe that they were talking about was the Lenape. I might be pronouncing it wrong. The Nanticoke, Lenape. I found that they have a lot of, or not a lot, but maybe some reservations in New Jersey. My question was, has any of these issues affected them? Are you in contact with them?
Matter of fact, we were just with the Nanticoke from both Delaware and New Jersey this past weekend at an event where we brought together the 5 local state recognized tribes, 3 from New Jersey, 1 from Delaware, and 1 from Pennsylvania. And we brought them all together to begin discussions about food sovereignty. So I am very aware of who they are. We have conversations with them regularly. The chief of the Nanticoke Lenape down in Bridgeton is Chief Yuri Ridgway, and the chief of the Nanticoke Delawares in Cheswold, Delaware, is Chief Dennis Coker.
Okay, so yes, they're coming together, and I can't wait to see, Chief, where this takes us. I mean, prayer goes a long way, and look, here we are. We were separated a long time from one another, and we're here at the very end of the satanic empire that was prophesied to one day fall. And I'm sure it's somewhere in your prophecy that at the end of this, we rise, my brother. So you're going to be hearing a lot from me, sir. It's been a humbling pleasure to actually meet you, but I can't wait to sit down with you from face to face. And I may bring a camera and come amongst and see on the ground, what's going on there with our people, right? Thank you. Thank you, brother. You have a great night, and I'm going to be calling you soon. And bless you, Chief.
Anishik and Lapichkana.
Blessings. And my man, Pots and Pans. Brother Lamont, you gonna get it done. Unmute yourself, Lamont, if you may.
I said thank you, and thank you to everybody that's supporting the project. I'm excited to get this done. This is awesome.
A blessing. Here we are.
I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
When we sit there and think about the name, the echoes of the Ramapo, right? These Ramapo mountains, right, that our people found refuge in, they're older than the Himalayan mountains. And once they were taller than the Himalayan mountains.
Mm.
That's how ancient this place is. That's how sacred it is. That's how spiritually grounded it is. That people from all over the world find themselves here.
All praises. And that's why the devil is trying to desecrate things. But, hey, something great is coming. Something great is coming, my brother. Well, bless you. And Lamont, thank you, brother. You're doing a great job, and I can't wait to see the end of this. All right.
Thank you.
Blessings. That concludes our broadcast for this evening. What you say, Lamont?
Hey, thanks, everybody.
Hey, thank you. We need someone who can bring a view, bring the correct attention to what's going on with our people getting quietly poisoned, with no mainstream media coverage. So thank you, my brother. Just, hey, finish it. Right? So I'll speak to you all after dinner. Blessings. All right. Shalom. May the Most High be with you all. This has been a blessed broadcast. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up, sin not, and keep in mind that the Most High is calling back the children of Israel. Blessings and have a great evening.
We went the 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gatherer Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar the Mexicans, a highest gathering Israel, Judah the Negroes, Benjamin the West Indians, Levi the Haitians, a highest gathering Israel. Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American